My dad made me choose one of the 10 goddesses to marry. This video is purely for entertainment and does not violate copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and the image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chapter 651. The real master is right in front of you, within the ruins of the branch of true humanity. Zhu's Yi's body was covered in electricity, densely packed like small snakes, furious. Fen Lin put one hand into his pants pocket, took out the scalpel with the other, and turned it over his fingers. Click. Zhu's Yi did not attack without authorization, but suddenly waved his hand. A thick electric current, like a long, winding snake, struck Fen Lin. Fen Lin raised his hand and cast Ash's holy glue. A thick layer of black smoke blocked Fen Lin's face. Boom. There was a low, muffled sound in the air, like thunder in the sky. The ground around Fen Lin continued to collapse. But 1 meter away from where Fen Lin was, everything was intact. Zhu's Yi put aside his strength and looked at Fen Lin solemnly. In fact, he is the legendary Doctor of Death. However, what he fears the most is Death Knight number 2. Could it be that the other party really didn't come? If what Fen Lin said is true, there must be something to rely on. Zhu's Yi is a cautious person, but now he doesn't know what to do. Hold your breath and tense your nerves. A black mist appeared behind Fen Lin, slowly forming a layer. Feel carefully. The next 10 seconds. Whoosh. Fen Lin leapt towards Zhu's Yi, with the cloak behind him wrapped around his body. In an instant, he transformed into the form of a demon. Zhu's Yi stared and immediately burst into energy. While dodging, he used electric current to attack Fen Lin. But this black demonic figure completely ignored Zhu's Yi's attack. Zizi. He's behind. In the distance, Zhao Ren, who was standing, suddenly burst out with force and appeared behind Zhu's Yi in the blink of an eye. He punched Fen Lin behind Zhu's Yi. Brush. Zhao Ren punched with all his strength and easily penetrated Fen Lin's body. Hit Zhu's Yi. Zhu's Yi looked at him, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and his body suddenly flew out. Fen Lin, who was running ahead, had already arrived in front of Zhu's Yi. No need to think about it to know that Fen Lin must have moved to the front again. Don't worry. I'm here. Zhao Ren didn't expect that this technique could move back and forth in front of the clone. However, in the Dakan realm, one can control the surrounding spiritual energy. Beta opened. Zhao Ren stepped on the ground. The grass at the foot of the forest in front suddenly swelled and turned into thick vines. Bind Fen Lin's legs and hands. Boss. Well done, Fen Lin, die. Zhu's Yi laughed loudly and hit Fen Lin on the head. Suddenly, his smile stopped abruptly. Because 10 small dark red swords emerged from Fen Lin's belly. The small sword is about half a meter long, like a rainbow piercing the sun. It instantly penetrated Zhu's Yi's body. Several blood holes appeared on his body and blood gushed out. At the same time, Zhu's Yi's fist also landed on Fen Lin's head. But his fist seemed to hit the air. Another clone. Damn. Zhu's Yi fell to the ground with a plop and slid more than 10 meters before stopping. It turns out that the clone in front of him has been confusing his vision. The real killer move is the small sword hidden behind the clone. 9 seconds in total, not bad. Fen Lin's figure appeared in front of Zhu's Yi. Zhu's Yi turned around in shock and found that the clone was still where he was. It turns out that you can release 2 clones. Zhu's Yi smiled bitterly. He did not undergo union surgery. There were so many holes in the body and the heart was penetrated that it could no longer be healed. Come down, death can be considered immortality. Fen Lin waved his hand, and several dark red swords pierced Zhu's Yi's body. End your life. Zhao Ren looked at Fen Lin solemnly. What happened just now was within reach. This young man is really terrifying. Boy, you're very talented. Please accept me as your godfather. Zhao Ren stretched out his hand to invite. Whatever you want, your godfather will give it to you. Who do you think you are? I don't even want you to be my son. Fen Lin walked towards Zhao Ren step by step. Let's go. Today I am in the middle stage of temper and I will kill you alone. Ha ha ha. Do you think it's like this? Is it possible? Zhao Ren looked up at the sky and laughed, tears streaming down his face. You'd better take a nap. There's everything in your dreams. Then come. In front of such a master, Fen Lin had nothing hidden. Capital. Just use all your strength. Fallen soul, then use fusion key. The black flames on the back of the head turned into strange colors of red with blue and blue with red. Zhao Ren's pupils suddenly shrank and Fen Lin's aura became stronger and stronger. And the appearance at this moment is heart-stopping. However, he is in the Dakan realm. Zhao Ren took a deep breath, a long knife appeared in his hand, and he jumped towards Fen Lin. A red and blue sword also appeared in Fen Lin's hand. Boom. The two weapons collided and the energy in their bodies collided. Fen Lin suddenly flew back. It seems that without the blessing of the 7 needles of fate, there is still a big gap when facing the Dakan realm. Whistle. While flying upside down, Fen Lin used the 7 deadly needles. 2 shots at a time. Fen Lin's heart was beating violently and the ki in his body was getting stronger and stronger. Come fight. Fen Lin roared. Rumble, and the battle between Fen Lin and Zhao Ren was much more intense than the battle between Sakam Jin in the distance. All the ruins were like a great earthquake. Buildings 100 or even 1,000 meters away began to collapse. Zhao Ren was more and more surprised. This Fen Lin Qian was outrageous. He was clearly in the middle stage of temperament, but his strength was able to suppress him. Zhao Ren gradually went crazy. Death. Die. His face was fierce, his expression gradually became violent, and he attacked Fen Lin like crazy. But Fen Lin's divine rebellion was too difficult to deal with. Fen Lin felt that he was almost done, so he threw out the 3rd of the 7 fatal needles. This thumbtack was stuck to his chin. A pain like an electric current ran through his entire body. Everyone said that the 3rd shot is already the limit. Even if there is no injury, the body will be severely damaged when the thumbtack is removed. However, Zhao Ren has gone crazy. This time is a good opportunity to kill. Boom. The weapons collided, causing the surrounding terrain to collapse 5 to 6 meters, and the area spread for tens of meters. Zhao Ren's sword shattered. He let out a mouthful of blood and flew back. Are you strong again? What the hell are you? Zhao Ren couldn't believe it. This is a monster, a monster. He jumped and fled out of the ruins. No. What Fen Lin feared most happened. Then get to Dakan State and don't fight him. If someone wants to escape, Fen Lin can't stop them at all. Stop. You piece of trash. You're afraid of my temper even though you're in the Dakan realm. Fen Lin followed, sneering wildly. But Zhao Ren simply turned a deaf ear and ran out of the ruins in a few breaths. Fen Lin also ran out. Boom. The warehouse employee's office exploded. Fen Lin looked around and found Luo Shenyan, who was wearing a white military uniform not far away, looking at him. He immediately froze on the spot. Luo Shenyan grabbed Zhao Ren's collar, originally planning to ask for information, but he didn't expect such good luck. The rightful owner is right in front of you. Chapter 652 Sakam Jin's kindness. Fen Lin's body was still shrouded in black at this moment. Logically speaking, Luo Shenyan couldn't see his appearance. Then, Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets, whistled, and walked away as if he were taking a leisurely walk. Try to stay calm. It's a lie that I'm not nervous. This woman is not easy to mess with. Luo Shenyan's eyes were so cold that he threw Zhao Ren out casually. Taking big strides, he walked towards Fen Lin. How dare Zhao Ren stay here? He immediately ran away. At the moment when he escaped just now, he was imprisoned by this woman, who was at the 5th level of Dakan. As a Dakan state, even if the branch is not saved, real humans will not blame it. Fen Lin, where do you want to go? Luo Shenyan stood in front of Fen Lin, his purple eyes filled with killing intent. When I saw this person, the words really sweet came to my ears. She couldn't calm down. Who was Fen Lin? Did you recognize the wrong person? Fen Lin lowered his voice and asked strangely. Brush. Luo Shenyan grabbed Fen Lin's collar and ran towards the ruins in the blink of an eye. Fen Lin took the opportunity to use divine counterattack to escape. Fallen soul and divine rebellion, do you still say that you are not Fen Lin? Luo Shenyan sneered. Fen Lin realized that he had been exposed, so he didn't bother hiding it and released the skills in his body. Sister is so amazing. Do even fallen souls know this? I remember this technique, but the second master didn't know it either. Just as Luo Shenyan was about to speak, his eyes suddenly looked into the distance. Sakam Jin wiped the blood on his face with a white handkerchief as he walked here. It's time for me to calm down too. Sakam Jin walked towards Fen Lin and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Fen Lin's heart jumped into his throat. He tried to remain calm and said in a deep voice, Fourth, you have nothing to do here. You go first. Is she an enemy? Sakam Jin looked at Luo Shenyan in front of him. D. Then threw the handkerchief on the ground. I will kill her. Room. Fen Lin's voice was a little louder. Let's go. Sakam Jin looked at Luo Shenyan in front of him and whispered. You can't beat her. Her? Don't worry, I have a trick. Fen Lin gave Sakam Jin a reassuring look. Sakam Jin walked out without any expression. Luo Shenyan did not stop him. But just when Sakam Jin missed Luo Shenyan suddenly raised his hand. Fen Lin shouted loudly, took out the thumbtack, and threw out the 4th of the 7 fatal needles. Buzz. His body meridians and muscles tightened and compressed in an instant. The ki in his body burst out instantly. In the blink of an eye, Fen Lin arrived at Luo Shenyan. Buzz. Just as Fen Lin was about to attack, his body was imprisoned. Oh! A black shadow flew out from Fen Lin. Compressed air cannot stop forest closures at all. Luo Shenyan showed a disdainful smile and grabbed the brim of his hat with one hand. The air in all directions suddenly turned lavender, covering a range of 100 meters. Buzz. Boom. The terrifying explosion swept across the entire ruins instantly. Violet light covered the sky and turned into a sphere, spreading in all directions. Circles of waves completely leveled the surrounding buildings. As for the roads, street lights, gardens, and flowers and plants that were originally built within the 100-meter radius, they evaporated in an instant. At this time, only a piece of Lois remained within 100 meters radius. Luo Shenyan was as straight as a sword, standing in the center. Next to her was the imprisoned Sakam Jin. Nothing happened to the two of them. But in Feng Lin, in the distance, it is just the opposite. He was lying on the ground, supporting himself with his hands, and blood continued to flow from his mouth. This is called a spiritual explosion. It uses ki to detonate all the spiritual energy around it. It is an indiscriminate range attack. It is used to deal with flying insects like you. Luo Shenyan took a step forward and walked towards Fen Lin with a deadpan expression. Face, today you will die here. Fen Lin gasped violently, but he didn't expect that after the fourth injection, he still couldn't resist the opponent's attack. However, the gap is really too big. If he followed the past, Fen Lin would never fight with a master of this level. But the fourth child was caught by the other party, how could he escape alone? Call. The air around Fen Lin suddenly compressed. His face looked ugly and it seemed like he could only receive the fifth injection. Stop. Stop. Sakam Jin's pupils trembled madly when he saw Fen Lin's appearance at this moment. With your current strength, you can't save him. He must die here today. Luo Shenyan turned around and looked at Sakam Jin calmly. You try to touch him. Click. Sakam Jin's handsome face had cracks like porcelain. A strange red light shone in the cracks. Luo Shenyan's eyes suddenly widened. Go dead. Boom. The air roared everywhere. Sakam Jin broke free of the restraints, seemingly eliminating the distance between the two. In an instant, he arrived in front of Luo Shenyan. Haha. I saw it right. Luo Shenyan left. Boom. He punched Sakam Jin in the stomach. Sakam Jin spurted blood and flew back like a cannonball. Luo Shenyan moved forward and caught up with Sakam Jin, who was flying backwards in the blink of an eye. It's okay if you don't kill him. Come with me. Luo Shenyan grabbed Sakam Jin by the shoulders. Sakam Jin looked at Fen Lin in the distance and nodded heavily. Fen Lin, next time we meet, you will die. Luo Shenyan looked at Fen Lin and disappeared here. Fourth. Fen Lin roared and ran out of the ruins like crazy. But no breath could be felt around him. Fen Lin sat on the ground, holding his hair with his bloody hands. Suddenly, he took out his mobile phone and dialed Ji Guangling's number. What? It's over. Ji Guangling smiled there. Old man. Save the fourth child quickly. He was captured by the Indian Crusaders. Fen Lin roared into his cell phone. Ji Guangling asked in shock, Are you okay? I'm fine. The fourth child was taken away, where are your people here? Fen Lin roared. There is only one Dakan Tier 1 person outside the company, and he can't detect the Indian Crusaders at all. Ji Guangling said solemnly, I will be there immediately. It's too late, I can't catch up. Fen Lin's phone slipped from her hand, covering her face and sighing. Next to the highway on the outskirts, Luo Shenyan stood up on the sidewalk. Next to her was Sakam Jin. Why are you arresting me? Sakam Jin's face returned to normal. Because we are from the same clan. Luo Shenyan's pretty face suddenly had cracks as well, and a dark red light flashed in the cracks. Sakam Jin stared at her in disbelief. Sakam Jin, let me call you by this name for the moment. We are all descendants of gods. Luo Shenyan's face returned to normal. You must have long understood that there's an essential difference between you and those low-level humans. You have been holding back. Realm, isn't it uncomfortable? What do you mean? I don't understand. Sakam Jin said coldly. You still want to lie to me. If you practiced seriously, now you can not only be in the early stage of temperament, Luo Shenyan said lightly, Fen Lin is your boss. You are afraid of embarrassing him or attacking him, so you don't want to get over him. He is a little different from him, very gentle. Chapter 653 Lure is scaring. Sakam Jin looked at Luo Shenyan blankly, that's nonsense. Just think I'm talking nonsense. Only you know what you're thinking. As Luo Shenyan spoke, a pilot car stopped on the side of the road. Where are you taking me? Even if I am of the same race, there's no need to meddle in other people's affairs, right? Sikon looked at the car closely. These humans are our enemies. It is not appropriate for you to follow Feng Lin all the time, Luo Shenyan explained calmly. I don't want to become enemies with them. Sikon Jin said. You have no choice. You haven't changed your mind now, so I can only use force. Luo Shenyan paused and said sternly, if you dare to return to Feng Lin, I will kill him. Then I will follow you. What do you want me to do by your side? Sikon Jin asked in a deep voice. Luo Shenyan said, first get rid of this bad habit of yours and let your strength reach the level it should be. Aren't you afraid that I surpass you and then kill you? Sikon Jin narrowed his eyes and asked. When you surpass me, you will have no feelings for these humans. Luo Shenyan opened the car door and said with a slight smile, let's go. I want to give him peace of mind. Sikon Juan took the space ring. He took out his cell phone, which showed several missed calls from Feng Lin. No. Luo Shenyan snapped his fingers and Sikon Jin's cell phone rang and shattered. I agree with you to see him in a few days, but not now. Why? Sikon Jin asked. If something like this happens, Feng Lin might complain to his father or tell Ji Guangling. Luo Shenyan got into the car first. I don't like trouble. Sikon Jin grabbed the car door, hesitated, and then walked out into a company where real people work. The area was already surrounded by local police officers and there was no way to escape. Helicopters can be seen in the sky everywhere. The scientists who escaped from here, as well as some low-level ancient warriors, were captured by helicopters one after another. The company's employees are also worried. Song Qiongwei held her cell phone and had just called her mother. He then left the hallway and recorded the video on his mobile phone. There are many helicopters floating in the sky, and these kinds of big scenes are rarely seen on TV. He patted the helicopter and arrived at the back of the company. She just heard an explosion from behind and wanted to see what happened. From a distance, I saw a man sitting on the broken ruins, with blood still dripping from his body. Are you and Feng Lin? Song Qiongwei frowned and immediately ran over. Feng Lin, are you okay? Feng Lin looked up and noticed that it was Song Qiongwei. He shook his head gently. It's okay, you're okay, I'll call you an ambulance. Song Qiongwei was very grateful to Feng Lin, especially since he worked for the country. No need. There has been a lot of blood recently. Let's add some to improve hematopoietic function. Feng Lin said, holding his cheek. It must be said that as the force increases, the impact of the fourth shot is much less. Boy, are you okay? At this moment, Ji Guangling, dressed in an avant-garde jacket and ripped jeans, quickly walked over. He noticed Feng Lin covered in blood and the 4 black thumbtacks on his face, and his eyes gradually flashed with killing intent. Is he trying to kill you? Ji Guangling asked in a deep voice. Yes, I insulted her when I ran away last time. I should hold a grudge. Feng Lin immediately stood up and said nervously, I'm fine, but the 4th child was taken away by her. Sikon Jin. Ji Guangling, I'm also a little confused. Isn't Sikon Jin related to real humans? The Yin Crusaders couldn't care about real humans, so there must be other reasons. Why were you arrested? What happened between them? Ji Guangling asked. The 4th child, Feng Lin recalled the previous scene and explained, the 4th child doesn't know what happened. His face was cracked, as if it were broken. That. Ji Guangling was stunned. And showed an expression of sudden understanding. No wonder the information given to Sikon Jin by the royal humans indicated that the race was unknown. You release the 7 deadly needles. Come with me first. Sikon Jin is fine. Ji Guangling grabbed Feng Lin's arm and left quickly. I'm leaving first, Song Qiongwei greeted before Feng Lin left. The two took a helicopter and headed to the nearest base. Ji Guangling held Feng Lin all the way and headed to the lowest level of the base. He took out a green pill from his body and handed it to Feng Lin. Take it, then go to the bathroom and take out the needle. Feng Lin took the pill, sniffed it, and said in surprise, Okay, guy. Old lady, you're very willing. Stop talking nonsense, Ji Guangling waved his hand. Feng Lin took the elixir, went to the bathroom, and took off his blood-stained clothes. Take out the thumbtacks one by one. His body was like a deflated rubber ball, gradually relaxing and finally weakening. Hey. Feng Lin stood under the shower and let the water wash away the blood from his body. The injury this time was not as serious as the last time he fought Wang Heizhu. To put it bluntly, he only took damage once this time. Feng Lin put on new clothes and got out of the shower. Other than looking a little weak, there are no other serious problems. Follow me. Ji Guangling led Feng Lin into a long and narrow metal corridor. Finally we came to a silver metal space. Feng Lin knew this place, which contained China's supercalculator. In this metal space, there are machines as tall as bookshelves, neatly arranged in the corners. Ji Guangling brought Feng Lin to a huge screen and entered information. Finally, an image of a person appears on the screen. This person is none other than Luo Shenyan, who was wearing a white military uniform. That's her. Feng Lin pointed at the screen and shouted. Look at another mock portrait. Ji Guangling moved the mouse. In the photo, Luo Shenyan also had cracks on her pretty face, with red light flashing in the cracks. This is, Feng Lin's pupil suddenly shrank, the fourth child was in this state before. That's right, Sikong Jin and Luo Shenyan are from the same clan. Ji Guangling turned off the screen and patted Feng Lin in the shoulder. Are you calm now? Sikong Jin is absolutely fine. Old man. What is this race? Feng Lin grabbed Ji Guangling's arm and asked. You should know the story of the Yellow Emperor and the Yan Emperor fighting against Kaiyu in ancient times, right? Ji Guangling stood with his hands behind his back and asked calmly. Of course, although there are many versions, the general plot is the same. Kaiyu was defeated and Emperors Yan and Huang established China, Feng Lin agreed. Yes, but when they were fighting, there was another force involved. Ji Guangling narrowed his eyes slightly. Other forces? Feng Lin was a little confused. He was suddenly surprised. You mean, it seems that you have guessed that the Kaiyu tribe is too powerful. The two emperors Yan and Huang have also lost 9 of 9 battles together. They are not rivals at all. But a third appeared. Ji Guangling explained. That is the tribe of the Queen Mother of the West. She is on the side of Emperors Yan and Huang. Feng Lin nodded. He had thought about this just now. The elders always spread by word of mouth that there are gods to help Yan Huang. We are descendants of the Yan Huang people, the Jia Li tribe is a descendant of Kaiyu, and these Yun and Yan crusaders call themselves descendants of the Queen Mother of the West. Ji Guangling couldn't help but laugh. It's ridiculous, right? Who are they scaring? Chapter 654 I have children. Feng Lin nodded. This old mentor in my village once said that gods are just humans who are good at pretending. Old Feng is right. In the eyes of ordinary people, we are already gods. Ji Guangling smiled and spread his words. Spreading his hands, in my opinion, these so-called Yan crusaders are no different from the Jia Li tribe. Old man, the so-called Western Queen Mother tribe is the same, Feng Lin said. Slightly. Yes, it is a relatively strong race, there is nothing to fear. Ji Guangling nodded. Go back and rest for a few days. By the way, this is the potion I found in the hands of a real human being. Take it back and let's investigate a little. Feng Lin took out a space ring. Okay. Ji Guangling accepted the ring. Were you quite self-conscious? Did my space ring disappear like this? Feng Lin rolled his eyes. Can I give you a head office? Ji Guangling took out an empty space ring from his body and handed it to Feng Lin. The precious elixir I gave you a moment ago was worth a ring. What elixir? Take it. It didn't work at all, so I left. Feng Lin put the ring in his pocket and left. Sikong Jin, Ji Guangling murmured in a low voice. Maybe he will become an enemy in the future. Feng Lin found a helicopter at the base and asked them to take him back to Fengshan. He sat alone in the cabin with his hands on his cheeks, in a daze. Knowing that the fourth son was safe, he was relieved. But if he just left like this, Feng Lin would feel uncomfortable. He didn't dare to think deeply. These people, the Yan crusaders, are obviously enemies. If the fourth son returns to Luo Shenyan and meets his family, he will definitely choose to stand on his side in the future. But Feng Lin is on the human side. He was not worried about anything, he was worried about the fourth son. If Lao Si encounters this kind of situation in the future, it may be more uncomfortable than death. Hey. Feng Lin sighed. In the final analysis, I am still not strong enough. Fengshan. Feng Lin absent-mindedly returned to the ruins and the place was as likely as usual. He looked at Men Chengsheng in the wheelchair and walked over with his trouser pockets inserted. Didn't you go out with the 4 guys? Where was I? Men Chengsheng smoked his pipe and smiled. Feng Lin secretly felt a little sad and roughly told what happened. Men Chengsheng's smile gradually faded. After a long time, he sighed. Okay, this ending is good. Yeah. Feng Lin nodded slightly. The fourth son found his clanmates and escaped death. Not bad, by the way. Second master, to be honest, this is the first time I feel that I am too weak. Feng Lin held his hair with both hands. Brat, what are you thinking about? How old are you? Men Qingshan laughed and scolded. I once heard your mother say that these yin-yang crusaders looked young, maybe 100 or 200 years old. Or 200 years. Fen Lin exclaimed. Yes, but everything in the world is fair. Their fertility is extremely low. Even if the pregnancy is successful, it will take 10 years for the child to be born. During this period, there may be several wars and the child will be gone. Men Qingshan explained with a smile. Who was my mother? Why does she know about this kind of thing? Fen Lin asked strangely. Ask me, your mother and I have only met a few times. Men Qingshan shook his head. Let's wait until he comes back. Fen Lin went to the village feeling a little disappointed, ready to take a nap. Wow, don't be depressed. Men Qingshan shouted at Fen Lin's back. Don't worry, I hold a lot of grudges. If I get hit, I will fight. Fen Lin waved his hand. Fen Lin rested in the ruins for 2 days. After that, he went to retreat into the mountains to practice formations. After half a month of high-intensity training, Fen Lin felt that he had made considerable progress. Although it is still far from the peak of the intermediate tempering stage. However, his formation achievements have improved a lot and he has become more proficient in the connection between God's counterattack and fallen soul. That day, Fen Lin originally planned a retreat, but received a call from Kai Lin. What's wrong? Fen Lin asked after answering the phone. The Empress asked someone to tell me to inform her to come to her house, Kai Lin said over the phone. After being reminded, Fen Lin remembered that he still needed to treat Kai Jinghan. During this period of time, because I was beaten and practiced diligently, I forgot about this incident. I got it. I'll get ready and be there in a moment. Fen Lin nodded and agreed. This time when he went to the Empress's house, he wanted to ask about the tombs of the 3 kings. That was the tomb of a leader of a country during the spring and autumn period. There are definitely opportunities there. For example, in the late spring and autumn period, Lao Tzu was also called immortal by later generations. At the same time, halfway up the side of Fengshan Mountain, 3 people appeared. The 3 of them were wearing white military uniforms and white military caps. The insignia here is the Yin-Yang Babu diagram. One of them is Luo Shenyan. Next to Luo Shenyan was an old woman with wrinkles on her face. He has short gray hair and slightly dull violet eyes. The last person was Sukam Jin. Putting on this military uniform changed his temperament drastically. Become a handsome and beautiful person. You promised me not to touch Fen Lin. Sukam Jin looked at Luo Shenyan coldly. I keep my word, but if he dares to provoke me, I will kill him anyway. Luo Shenyan said expressionlessly. Sukam Jin nodded and walked quickly towards the ruins. He deliberately let Luo Shenyan know the address of Fengshan. Luo Shenyan found it difficult to take action to bring the matter to light. What if Sukam Jin sneaks up and Luo Shenyan follows him? Now he can't detect the other person's breath. When she leaves, she could kill him. So let Luo Shenyan know the location. She would be worried about Sukam Jin's face and would not dare to act. Haha, her protective personality is quite similar to her mother. The old lady next to Luo Shenyan smiled. I hope you don't disappoint us, Luo Shenyan said, suddenly frowning and covering his belly. What's wrong? The old lady next to me asked strangely. I don't know. In the past few days, I always feel something strange in my abdomen, Luo Shenyan said lightly. Maybe I ate too much. Haha, you didn't eat much. The old woman spread out her wrinkled hands, 5 fingers glowing with a violet light. He put his hand on Luo Shenyan's abdomen and closed his eyes to feel. Suddenly, the old woman suddenly opened her eyes. What's wrong? Are you surprised? Luo Shenyan asked strangely. The old lady couldn't believe it. This time she put her hands on Luo Shenyan's body, and the purple light covered Luo Shenyan's body. After a long time, he let go and put his hands behind his back. Okay, even if you hide it from me, who does it belong to? The old lady asked with a smile. Whose? Luo Shenyan frowned. What are you pretending to be? You already have children. The old lady smiled and patted Luo Shenyan's belly. You must take good care of her. In 10 years, we will have another divine general. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 655. Just touch it. What did you say? Luo Shenyan took a step back in panic, almost losing his balance. Don't tell me, you don't know how you got pregnant. If you don't agree with your strength, who can force you? The old lady laughed a few times. Don't be embarrassed. How is it possible? How is it possible? Luo Shenyan clung to a large tree next to her, her face as pale as paper. How can it be so easy for someone of my race to have children? Why did he just and? I will kill him, I will kill him. Luo Shenyan's breathing became faster and faster and he felt his entire head burning. How could he have Feng Lin's child? How could the despicable ant become the father of his own son? What's wrong with you? Could it be that this child's father is not from our clan? The old lady noticed Luo Shenyan's face and asked strangely. He is a human race, Luo Shenyan said in a voice. Deep tears began to appear in her eyes. The human race? How is this possible? It is very difficult for our race to have children, and it is even more difficult for the human race. The old woman suddenly asked, is it possible for you to be here every day? Far? Just once. Luo Shenyan punched. Make a hole in the big tree. It is not like this. The old lady opened her mouth wide and couldn't believe it. No. I want to abort this child. Tears welled up in Luo Shenyan's eyes. No. You should know that if our family aborts their children, there will be a huge backlash. The old lady grabbed Luo Shenyan by the shoulders and asked him to calm down. Damn. Luo Shenyan wiped away her tears with her arms. The other side. Sikam Jin was right at the ruins. Zhuoran and others who were training in the distance looked up. At first, I thought it was Feng Lin's fiancé again, but upon closer inspection, I realized that this person was Sikam Jin. However, everyone was still surprised by Sikam Jin's appearance, especially in this military uniform. So handsome and beautiful that you can't look away. There is nothing surprising about Zhu Ruoyan and others. They all know that Feng Lin is a member of the country, and the same is true for Sikam Jin in front of them. Wearing the military uniform is normal. In the distance, Men Chang Shen, who was drinking, suddenly looked at Sikam Jin and said in surprise, Fourth boy. Feng Lin just went to the villa to wash his face and prepare to go to Kai Jinyang's house. As soon as he left the villa, he saw Sikam Jin. He ran over excitedly and grabbed the fourth man's arm. Why are you wearing the Yang Crusader's clothes? Since you want to pursue the excitement, then follow through to the end. Sikam looked at Feng Lin in a low voice. I plan to stay with Luo Shenyan and act as an undercover agent. Fourth, Feng Lin couldn't help but gritted his teeth. It's still my lack of strength. It has nothing to do with you. When Luo Shenyan was in Tianzhuang, she will find me sooner or later. Sikam Jin said softly, if I don't follow her, she will hurt you four guys, don't worry. Stressed. Men Chang Shen turned the wheelchair and exhaled. Second master, don't worry, she and I are from the same clan and she won't do anything to me, Sikam Jin said calmly. Fourth, if you see her family, treat them well. Feng Lin held Sikam Jin's shoulders tightly. Sikam Jin was taken aback for a moment, then smiled lightly. Boss, I know, don't worry, I'll go find him soon. Feng Lin said with a smile, you should practice well there and in the future let's meet and see who is stronger. Alright. Sikam Jin nodded heavily, don't tell Lao Wu Lao Ki about me. Just say, I have found my family. Understood. Feng Lin nodded. Head. Boss and second master, I'm leaving. I hope to see you next time. Sikam Jin took a deep breath and turned to leave. Fourth, I will see you off. Feng Lin said following behind. No, Luo Shenyan is not far away, you better not meet. Sikam Jin shook his head gently and disappeared. Fuck. Feng Lin stomped on the ground and gritted his teeth angrily. I am so reduced that I dare not go out. Haha, then find a way to progress. Your era has just begun. Men Chang Sheng smiled and shook his head. Sikam Jin returned to the previous slope. It was discovered that Luo Shenyan was the only one left here and Luo Shenyan's eyes were red. What's wrong with you? Sikam Jin asked strangely. Okay, you can call Feng Lin, I think you know. Sikam Jin immediately refused before he could finish his words. Don't worry, I won't kill him, Luo Shenyan said calmly, I promised you. Sikam Jin frowned and said, you can't even touch it. Just touch it. What the hell are you doing? Sikam Jin said. Some hesitation. You can watch from the side. Luo Shenyan looked at Sikam Jin and said. Sikam Jin nodded. Now Luo Shenyan was in control. As long as Feng Lin was not harmed, would be satisfied. Then Sikam Jin returned again and saw Feng Lin coming out of the ruins. Fourth son. Aren't you leaving? Feng Lin was about to leave for Kai Jinyang when he found that Sikam Jin had returned and ran over excitedly. No, it's me who wants to see you. Luo Shenyan appeared not far away, looking at Feng Lin. Feng Lin suddenly became alert. Sister, my father is in the ruins. I advise you to calm down. Luo Shenyan walked towards Feng Lin. You're paralyzed. Luo Shenyan cursed angrily and kicked Feng Lin in the stomach. Shit. Fen Lin immediately flew back and hit the hillside. What are you doing? Sitcom Jin roared angrily. And okay, are you okay? Sitcom Jin called. I'm okay. Fen Lin climbed up from the hillside. Luo Shenyan, right. Just wait for me. I will challenge you next time. Seeing that Fen Lin was fine, Sitcom Jin also breathed a sigh of relief. And left. Grandma's. Fen Lin covered her buttocks, looked at the leaving figures, and he cursed secretly. Originally, he had no goals in the realm of cultivation. Now he has done so. We must use force to teach Luo Shenyan a lesson. To the ruins walking towards the profound tower, he had several purposes for coming here this time. The first thing is to ask Kai Jinyoung to see if he knows Luo Shenyan and what his strength is. If it was possible, Fen Lin planned to completely cure Kai Jinyoung. As long as he tells her that it may get worse in the future, she will definitely not commit suicide. Another purpose is about the tombs of the three kings. Bear Big Bear 2 Fen Lin entered the tower and found the two giant pandas fighting. Bamboo and waiting with a smile. The two pandas pretended not to hear. Deep in the dark tower, footsteps could be heard. After a while, Kai Jinyoung appeared in front of Fen Lin. This time she was different than usual. He was not wearing battle armor, but rather a white robe. Chapter 656 Let's go together. Fen Lin looked at the Empress and said with a smile, I was beaten recently. I have been in seclusion and I forgot about the treatment. Who beat you? Kai Jinyoung turned around and walked towards the depths of the tower. Leave. Fen Lin followed Kai Jinyoung. She calls herself the Yin and Yang Crusaders, and seems to be called Luo Shenyan. What? Kai Jinyoung paused, but for a moment, he shook his head gently. You lied to her. Yo, she's going to do it. You can't be alive. He wanted to capture me alive and use me to blackmail the old man. Fen Lin said with a smile. In the end, he let me escape. Kai Jinyoung stared at Fen Lin. It was indeed possible. At Fen Lin's age, he has reached the intermediate stage of temperament and must be the treasure of the country. It's not bad that you escaped from her. Kai Jinyoung continued walking deeper. Don't rely on this transfer formation. Fen Lin smiled and took out the Tantak family token. You're in trouble, you know. Kai Jinyoung said as he walked away. What's the matter? Fen Lin took a few steps faster to catch up with Kai Jinyoung. A few days ago, the people from the Tantak family came into contact with my people and planned to go to the Tomb of the Three Kings together. Obviously, one of the maps was given to you by me, Fen Lin murmured. In my hands, it's mine. Indifferently, they are looking for the person who killed Tantak. And what do you think I am doing? I don't even know him. Fen Lin said innocently. But they investigated and found out that it was you who did it, Kai Jinyoung said calmly. Stop talking nonsense. You said so much, don't you just want me to go there? If you don't go, I won't go. Fen Lin waved his hand, but I won't tell you the secret of the Tomb of the Three Kings. What secret? Kai Jinyoung suddenly looked at Fen Lin. Big secret. Fen Lin looked at Kai Jinyoung and smiled. Kai Jinyoung pointed at Fen Lin with a fierce expression. I won't tell you. I paid for this with my life. Why should I tell you if I can't go there? Fen Lin sat on the grass and pursed his lips. If you tell me, I will consider letting you go. Kai Jinyoung said calmly. Fen Lin laughed loudly. Consider it. Are you persuading the child? Kai Jinyoung looked at Fen Lin indifferently. He didn't know what was going on. Why do you have to talk to Fen Lin so much? If it were normal, he would have given him a lesson. Is it possible that it's really what Kai King said? Fen Lin suddenly noticed that Kai Jinyoung's expression was wrong, and immediately jumped up and said with a smile, Sister, I'm just joking. He also hoped that Kai Jinyoung would be his bodyguard and take him to the Tomb of the Three Kings with him. Haven't you said anything yet? Kai Jinyoung stood up with his hands behind his back and shouted coldly. I didn't even tell my wife about this matter. You must keep it a secret. Fen Lin's face became solemn. Yes. Kai Jinyoung nodded slightly. Do you still remember the brothers who were next to me when I gave you the map? Brothers. Kai Jinyoung frowned. Well, he is a man and we are brothers. Fen Lin nodded. This man is of the same race as Luo Shenyan. Was surprised. Luo Shenyan captured me just for him, but I didn't know it at first. I thought she wanted the map, so I told her to give the map and ask her to let me go. After Fen Lin said this, he paused. She doesn't want it. He said that this map originally belonged to him and he deliberately let it be auctioned. Really? Kai Jinyoung looked solemn. I am responsible for my words, Fen Lin nodded. Kai Jinyoung's red eyes looked into the distance, deliberately took out the map and let these people fight for it. There must be a reason. I can't take you there. Kai Jin-young suddenly said, "Now Luo Shenyan and the Tantak family have to deal with you, and I can't protect you. My brother left with Luo Shenyan. She promised me my brother, don't leave just yet. You will kill me." After Fen Lin said this, he took out a small porcelain bottle. "Also, I have a way to completely recover your injuries." "What's that?" Kai Jin-young asked, looking at the bottle. "Treasures of heaven and earth," said Fen Lin. "In fact, this is a bottle of mineral water prepared by Fen Lin. If it can be cured at once, we have to think of something. Otherwise, it would be too fake." "Were there any side effects?" Kai Jin-young asked. Fen Lin replied, "No, but in the future, I can't guarantee if it will happen again. Let's wait until the future to talk about the future, come on." Kai Jin-young approached Fen Lin and took the initiative to lie down on the grass and put on the open white robe. Fen Lin opened the lid and poured the mineral water into Kai Jin-young's heart. "Sister, I make this so that you can fully absorb it. There is absolutely no malice." Fen Lin dribbled the ball solemnly. "Since you have to pretend, you can only pretend until the end." Kai Jin-young's beautiful cheeks turned red. But he still closed his eyes tightly and waited in silence. "As long as you can get back to your peak, this is nothing." Fen Lin took out the silver needle and began serious treatment. This time, it took half an hour to seal the forest. Finally, the injury that had worried Kai Jin-young for many years was completely healed. "Be quiet." Fen Lin put away the silver needle and sat on the grass next to him. He wiped the sweat from his forehead. This time he was very tired. Especially using key royal needle consumes more energy. Kai Jin-young immediately wrapped himself in his robe and jumped into the air. Call. Behind her, a pair of black wings formed by Ki appeared, constantly flying through the sky at extremely fast speeds. Feeling the flow of the meridians in the body, it turned out that it was nothing serious. His face was full of joy, he could finally stop fighting from now on. He returned to the third level of the tower. After a while, he jumped down from a high place. He has put on his battle armor. "Sister, my mission is almost complete. You're not going to kill me, are you?" Fen Lin asked with a smile. "It depends on your performance." Kai Jin-young stared at Fen Lin expressionlessly. After a long time, he said, "I agree with you to follow me, but you must put on the armor of our Jiali tribe." Fen Lin was hiding in the Jiali clan, so that he could find the treasure with peace of mind. "Don't leave today. Let Li Fan make you armor later." Kai Jin-young walked out. "We will leave tomorrow." "Okay." Fen Lin agreed. Kai Jin-young left first and Fen Lin left the ruins with her. Li Fang received the order and immediately took the tape ruler and walked over. He asked Fen Lin to open his arms and measure himself. "Finally, record all these data." "Empress, I will have someone prepare immediately." Li Fang bowed respectfully. "Yes," Kai Jin-young nodded. Not long after Li Fang left, Fen Lin's cell phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Ji Guangling's phone number. "Old master, what's wrong?" "The other branch has also been resolved and is now preparing to attack the Huaxia headquarters. Do you want to join in the fun?" Ji Guangling said with a smile. "There will be a good show this time. On behalf of W. Zhao, I let Jiangzu participate in the annihilation activities." Chapter 657. You can't run away, Jiangzu. Fen Lin thought of the man who carried bear all day. I heard Ji Guangling say before that this person is also in the Dakan realm. And it seems to be related to real humans. Let him deal with real humans this time, which is really a good show. I have more important things to do, so I can't go. Fen Lin said helplessly. Well, we have already contacted the European Holy See and are preparing to attack the Royal Human headquarters together. Ji Guangling said there. I know, I should go there because of the excitement that Fen Lin nodded. After hanging up the phone, Fen Lin looked at Kai Jin-young not far away. She must have heard everything. Were you going to attack real humans? Kai Jin-young asked. Yes, that evil organization should be destroyed, Fen Lin said sharply. Since the fourth child has no chance, let him do it alone. The two returned to the ruins. Kai Jin-young headed to the third floor. Fen Lin followed him very indifferently and was then destroyed by the powerful key. Grandma. Why don't you come to your room? Fen Lin was bored and could only go to Shangdiazhonger to play. The night falls. Fen Lin took out the quilt and pillow from the space ring and simply lay down on the grass. After reading the novel for a while, he closed his eyes and prepared to rest. But suddenly I felt a breath appear among the ruins. The next moment, Kai Jin-young fell from the tower. He sat at the nearby stone table and waited in silence. Empress. In a few breaths, a woman in armor knelt on one knee not far away. Fen Lin heard the voice and realized that it was Kai King. Has the armor been made? Kai Jin-young asked calmly. Kai King touched the space ring, and a black and red armor appeared in his hand. Like the two of them, the only difference is that the front of the body is relatively flat. Fen Lin, try it, Kai Jinyoung said to Fen Lin, who was lying on the quilt. What? Empress. This armor is actually for this end. Kai King suddenly felt unhappy. In particular, Fen Lin and Mem Changshi had insulted the Empress. Kai King, be careful what you say. The Empress is my sister and I am older than you. Fen Lin walked towards Kai King and first put on the top helmet and mask on his head. Shaking my head slightly, I felt pretty good. Especially the interior is very soft, I don't know what material it is made of. Fen Lin took off his jacket and pants. What are you doing? Kai King was suddenly shocked and threw the armor in his hand at Fen Lin. Damn. I need to change my clothes. Fen Lin immediately moved out of the way. You shameless insect. If it weren't for the Empress, I would definitely teach you a lesson. Kai King snorted coldly and walked towards Kai Jinghan. I didn't take it off completely, Fen Lin muttered, put on all the armor and jumped a few times. In fact, it is much heavier than regular clothing. But in his condition, he could adapt to it within a few minutes of activity. Take a good rest and leave tomorrow morning. After Kai Jinyoung finished speaking, he jumped to the third floor of the tower. Kai King snorted coldly, I really don't understand why the Empress would bring a piece of trash like you. I gave you face. Fen Lin pointed at Kai King and said coldly. I don't talk to trash. Kai King also took out the space ring quilt and lay on it. I don't talk to extremely vicious people either. Fen Lin didn't bother to worry and lay down in his armor. As soon as the next day dawned, Fen Lin opened his eyes. He got up and moved a little. It was really uncomfortable to sleep like this. Kai King still stood at the side. This was the first time Fen Lin saw her and took off her mask and helmet. He looked silly and you could still see the drool at the corner of his mouth. It seemed like a lollipop could fool her. Kai King, get up! Kai Jinyoung jumped down from the tower. Yeah. Kai King opened her eyes with excitement and immediately stood up, not forgetting to wipe her saliva. Suddenly finding Fen Lin looking at her, she wrinkled her nose and said, Are you looking at farts? Yes, you're looking at farts. Fen Lin smiled and nodded. Stop making trouble, just eat some compressed biscuits, we will leave immediately. Kai Jinyoung took out a few packets of compressed biscuits and juice and handed them to Fen Lin and Kai King respectively. Fen Lin took it, looked at it, and said with a smile, Sister, don't use our human things. How can you eat our compressed military biscuits? Fen Lin, you talk too much. Kai Jinyoung looked at him calmly. Close the forest. Then I will shut up. Fen Lin was afraid of offending others, so he left without him. Some people had a casual meal and then left together. Before leaving the ruins, Kai Jinyoung and Kai King dressed in black robes. Hide this armor. Fen Lin also followed suit and took out a black robe. Outside the village, Lin Feng drives a black 7-seater Huangqi car. Kai Jinyoung and Kai King sat in the second row, while Fen Lin could only lie down in the third row. Onchen, Central Plains. The location of the Tomb of the Three Kings is in the mountains outside the city. Lin Feng, just open the car window. You can wait for us in Onchen. Kai Jinyoung looked at the mountains in the distance and said calmly. Yeah. Lin Feng opened all the car windows, and several people disappeared here in an instant. Let's go. Kai Jinyoung said to the two, You're here. Fen Lin nodded and followed Kai Jinyoung. Halfway up the mountain. 5 people in total. The leader was an old man with white hair, dressed in a Chinese robe and a crew cut. This person was one of the 4 people who stole the map in Tianzong last time. Tam Tesheng of the Tanta family. Next to him was a middle-aged man with blue hair and a suit. He had a pair of hanging eyes and was squatting on the ground smoking. Besides him, there was a dark-haired woman. He is about 25 years old, has long hair and open bangs, and wears a black leather mask. Those cold eyes were very striking. The remaining 2 people were wearing black robes. The Empress of the Jiali tribe is really domineering. We agreed before that there could be no more than 5 people, but we didn't expect that only 3 would come. Tam Tesheng walked over with a smile. I originally planned to come alone, but I wanted my juniors to get some exercise. Kai Jinyoung removed the hat from his black robe, revealing his handsome face. Not only Tam Tesheng, but also several people there were stunned. I have long heard that the Empress is unparalleled in her grace and beauty. When I saw her today, she was truly extraordinary. The same goes for us, Tam Tesheng said with a smile. Stop talking nonsense and go in first. Kai Jinyoung stared at the dark hole not far away. Tam Tesheng jumped up first and everyone on his side followed him. Kai Jinyoung took a few steps forward, then suddenly turned around and asked, What's wrong with you? You guys go down first and wait for me for 30 seconds. Fen Lin closed his eyes and stood still. Okay, let's go in first. Kai Jinheng jumped in. Kai King looked at Fen Lin strangely and then jumped. Fen Lin stood here for 20 seconds and suddenly began to move. 1. He found a formation transfer token under a stone. 2. 3. From Grandma, you can't escape without my permission. Fen Lin put all these tokens into the space ring. Chapter 658. Inside the Tomb of the Three Kings. Fen Lin searched for a while and found no other tokens. It was impossible for him to find such a big place in such a short time. Fen Lin jumped to the height of a large tree and used the holy ash glue to create a token-sized hole in the height. He hid his transfer slip inside. Everything must be done with caution. Since Luo Shenyan deliberately sent the map, he would still be able to see her. It would be safer to have life-saving transfer training. Then he jumped into the hole. What appears inside are still mountains. There are green hills and lush trees everywhere. On the top of a mountain there is a huge mausoleum made of white stone. Very impressive. After Fen Lin jumped down, he found that several people around him were staring at him. Kai Jinheng asked calmly, "What are you doing?" "Back to the Empress. I don't know what's going on recently. I learn it frequently." Fen Lin bowed respectfully. Haha. It's because of a bad kidney. Tam Teshing in the distance turned around with a smile. Let's go and see what treasures are in the so-called Tomb of the Three Kings. They all headed to the tomb at the top of the mountain. The enormous mausoleum is built like a palace and has a conical shape, like an enlarged version of the town's earthen tomb. It is 100 meters high and more than 200 meters in diameter. But for such a large building, there is only a small double-opening stone door 2 meters high and 1.5 meters wide. Tam Teshing turned to a man wearing a black robe and said. One of the black-robed men stepped forward and pressed his hands on the stone door. Little by little he released his energy. Boom. The ground beneath my feet began to shake slightly. Finally, he opened a gap in the stone door and finally, it opened completely. Everyone looked inside and found a dead end here. The depth is only about 3 meters. At this moment, at the end of the 3 meters, a white light flashed. When everyone saw this, they immediately prepared themselves and retreated. However, the white light did not attack, it simply turned into an oval circle. In the circle, the oracle bone runes flashed. Fen Lin recently learned most of the oracle bone runes. He looked carefully and saw that there were several runes that he didn't recognize. But by connecting the familiar words, the rough translation is, "Come, follow me to the house." My house is very big. Fen Lin didn't know what the rest of the sentence meant. This is the formation. Tam Teshing looked at the blue-haired middle-aged man smoking next to him. Lan, what formation is it? Kai Jinheng narrowed his eyes. The Tantak family was well prepared this time, and I actually found someone who understands formations. Lan Ten walked to the door, watched carefully, and said, "It should be a transfer formation." "Is there a transfer formation in the ruins?" Tam Teshing looked at a black-robed man. "Go in first and take a look." "Right. Go deeper and you should return in 30 seconds. "Yes." A black-robed man walked in, and when he entered the oval circle, his body disappeared. "It is indeed a transfer formation." Tam Teshing secretly nodded. Everyone has been waiting here and 30 seconds passed in the blink of an eye, but that person didn't come back. Tam Teshing's face gradually became serious. The other party was in the Dakan realm. Their eyes began to look towards the entrance of the ruins. Before coming in, they had discussed that if they were in danger, they would act immediately. But in the past 2 minutes, the other party has not yet returned. "Empress, what should I do?" Tam Teshing turned and looked at Kai Jinheng. Kai Jinheng thought carefully in his heart, and then said for a long time, "Let's put the maps together and take a look." "Okay." Tam Teshing also had the same idea and took out the 2 maps he had. Kai Jinheng took out the remaining 2 copies. The 2-person map combination was placed on the ground. Everyone gathered around and watched the road and the little characters on it. At the entrance, indeed, there is an oval shape. But behind the ellipse lie many fine lines that intertwine with each other like a labyrinth. Finally, it converges into 2 lines. Everything will lead to the location of the deepest coffin. Does this formation randomly move people to a certain line? Fen Lin thought. In the end, 2 paths were formed, reaching the end together. That should be the case. Kai Jinheng nodded slightly. Every transcendental treasure will be accompanied by a great crisis. I am willing to endure this crisis. Tam Teshing looked at the people around him. Which of you is willing to come in? All these people entered the oval. Without saying a word within the formation. "Empress, see you at the end." Tam Teshing smiled, bowed, and suddenly put the 4 maps into the space ring. Brush. He rushed towards the formation in an instant. You were looking for death. Kai Jin-young stopped him immediately, but it was still one step too late. Damn. That old bastard. Kai King followed suit and cursed. Fen Lin, you have little strength, it's better not to go in. Kai Jin-young looked at Fen Lin, originally intending to protect Fen Lin. Now the two can't be together. Fen Lin walked away with a smile, turned over a stone, and found a transfer token. No wonder they couldn't detect it from the outside, the rest were hidden inside the ruins. Is that the transfer formation token? Kai King raised his eyebrows in surprise. How did Fen Lin know where he was? Sister, isn't the girl wearing a mask right now in the middle of a temper? Fen Lin went to another hilltop to take out the token hidden on the ground. Do you understand formations? Kai Jin-young frowned, he couldn't sense these formation tokens. I know a few things. Fen Lin took the initiative to walk towards the mausoleum. Don't worry, I will wait for you at the end. After saying that, Fen Lin walked in. The surrounding scenery suddenly changed and Fen Lin appeared on a white stone path. Ahead is the entrance to a palace, the interior is dark and nothing can be seen. Fen Lin was in no hurry, he sat cross-legged and put his hands on the ground. Close your eyes and feel. This place is amazing. There are so many formations, killing formations, ghost formations, transfer formations, it is worthy of being a master during the period when 100 schools of thought were competing. Fen Lin stood up and walked towards the entrance of the palace. The interior was very dark, but you could still see your surroundings clearly. Recently, his formation achievements have improved greatly. The ancestors planted trees and the descendants enjoy the shade. Zhang Yu explained all the complicated things in the simplest language. If Fen Lin were simply asked to study it, I don't know how many years it would take. Bravely enter the maze compared to the others. Fen Lin is like traveling, enjoying the beauty of the formation like taking a leisurely walk. I almost forgot I was looking for a baby. Unconsciously, Fen Lin stopped in one place and looked at the black wall in front of him. How come the heavenly lock formation responsible for hiding treasures appears here? Fen Lin touched the wall in front of him. He had broken through the heavenly lock formation last time. Then he used the formation breaking technique and everything was done easily. An oracle bone rune struck the formation. Boom. The wall in front of him did not shatter, but instead rippled in circles, like the reflection of water. Fen Lin pressed his hand against the wall and penetrated directly. Without thinking, he entered with his entire body. Damn. I'm not going to find the treasure like this, am I? Fen Lin exclaimed. Zhang Yu once recorded the tomb formations of past dynasties. In layman's terms, normal people must follow the rules of the formation, go through several levels, and then find the key to pass the level and open the lock of the treasure chest. The formation breaking technique can directly cut the wooden boards of the treasure chest, eliminating the need for intermediate operations. Isn't that what Fen Lin is now? He looked around. It was a huge sealed space with no light. Oh. At this moment, a golden light flashed in the distance. A golden shadow holding a long sword flew towards Fen Lin. It is particularly dazzling in dark space. Brother. One of ours. Fen Lin suddenly shouted in a hurry. Chapter 659 The Empress Crisis. The golden shadow did not stop at all and struck Fen Lin with a sword. Fen Lin immediately raised his palm and the black smoke of the ashes holy gu formed a defensive shield. Boom. A strong wind appeared everywhere, followed by a dazzling golden light. Everything around you was visible. This is a stone chamber. In the center is a bronze coffin. Other than that, all that's left is this golden shadow. This should be similar to the tomb guardian. Fen Lin took the opportunity to use the white emperor holy sword. Whistle. Two dark red swords pierced the shadow without causing any real damage. HNPH. Who are you trying to scare? I'm an atheist. Fen Lin immediately dodged and landed on the copper coffin in the distance. Since it can't be touched, it is most likely a formation. Around his body, oracle bone writing began to float. As he dodged the opponent's attacks, he felt the marks around him. Here. Fen Lin suddenly reached the peak of space, used the formation breaking technique, and hit him in one fell swoop. Buzz. Another circle of waves appeared at the top of space. The golden shadow that was preparing to attack disappeared without a trace. Fen Lin exhaled, took out his mobile phone and turned on a flashlight. Jump onto the copper coffin and use ash holy gu to melt it little by little. There was a large hole in the lid of the copper coffin. The legendary General Moxie is dimly inside. Fen Lin was also a little excited. The lid of the copper coffin completely disappeared. Inside lay a headless doll carved from stone. In addition to some jewelry buried with it, there was also a piece of metal placed on the doll's chest. Is this a skill? Fen Lin did not see General Moxie and was still a little disappointed. Picking up the piece of metal and looking at it, I discovered that everything was written in Oracle. Is this a formation? Fen Lin leaned against the copper coffin and carefully translated the words it contained. Chapter of the Chain King Military Force. Shit. Fen Lin's eyes widened in shock. Sun Wu and Sun Chain King. The original version of Sun Tzu's Art of War. Sun Wu was his father's idol. Therefore, Fen Lin loved Jiu when he was a child and also knew this military sage very well. Being able to write a military masterpiece that transcends contemporary history, it stands to reason that it has extremely glorious feats. But there are very few records about him in history books. Dad always used the word mysterious to describe this person. Sun Tzu's Art of War, which is currently passed down from generation to generation, comes from the bamboo slips from the Han Tumatian. It belongs to the manuscript compiled by later generations from fragmentary scrolls. I didn't expect the original version to be available here. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone and when he found words he didn't understand, he looked them up one by one in the translations compiled by Zhang Yu. He believed that what his father's idol left behind was definitely better than General Muxi. Fen Lin was reading at night. Kai Jinheng relied on his powerful combat power to break through traps and formations one after another. Finally, it came to the end. There are 2 doors in front of the Dark Palace. One black and one white, symbolizing yin and yang. Kai Jinheng chose the white one and put it on. She returned to a whole new world. The sun is shining brightly in the sky and spring is everywhere. Another ghost formation. Kai Jinheng hated this type of formation the most. Their ancestors left some knowledge on how to decipher the formation. But most are lost. The masters of the Jiali tribe, who were originally good at formations, were dying and missing for some unknown reason. Of course, these formation masters are not limited to the Jiali tribe. Even the human race that created formations and knew how to make them has almost disappeared. Suddenly, he felt the ripples of battle in the distance and instantly increased his speed. When they arrived, they discovered that one of them was Kai King. The other person is Tan Tesheng. Kai King is now seriously injured. All helmets and masks disappeared. His face was pale, his mouth was full of blood, and he had fainted. Tan Tesheng, you are looking for death. When Kai Jinheng saw this, he looked at him angrily. A golden light erupted from her body and she rushed towards him instantly. Are you sure you want to act? Tan Tesheng grabbed Kai King's neck and sneered at Kai Jinheng. When Kai Jinheng saw this, he immediately stopped. Ha ha ha. The Jiali tribe has also begun to have the emotions of the human race. Tan Tesheng grabbed Kai King's long silver hair and smiled lightly. I said it first, this person attacked me first. Tan Tesheng. Let her go. Kai Jinheng's face was as cold as ice. Do you think it's possible? Our people can't get out of the tomb of the 3 kings. Simply put, we are trapped. Tan Tesheng shook his head gently. The Jiali clan and our Tantak family are old enemies. Then we can only let me kill you first and then we will study the method of getting out. It's just you. Do you still want to kill me? Kai Jinheng looked disdainful with murderous intent on his face. No, it's not just me. As soon as Tan Tesheng finished speaking, a smoking middle-aged man appeared in the distance. He is Lan Tan brought by Tan Tesheng. Landing is a member of our Tantak family and is mixed with the blood of the Zhenyuan clan, Tan Tesheng explained calmly. What? A formation clan that can see the formation structure. Kai Jinheng was surprised. Yes, he is more talented than his father. He took out the transfer token of our Tantak family. Tan Tesheng explained with a smile, he is the living treasure of our Tantak family and he just wants to kill you. Let it out. Don't brag on me, she's not that powerful. Lan Tan walked over smoking a cigarette and threw a black token at Kai Jinheng. If you want to save her, come with us. He said. At the end, runes appeared. Of oracle bones around Lan Tan's body. Buzz. The 3 of them disappeared. Kai Jinheng looked at the token in front of him. He could follow her and risk dying. But she must go. Sighed. In the future, he will inherit the position of Empress. He stepped forward, grabbed the token, and injected ki into it. The token shows a few words. Buzz. The next moment, Kai Jinheng appeared in a red film. Transparent, because there was another token right here. The periphery of the red film is wrapped with dense oracle bone characters. Ha ha ha. Empress, you are such a good boss. Tan Tesheng smiled and shook his head. In the distance, several people from the Tantak family were there, including the original Black Road Man. You think a simple formation can trap me? Kai shouted. Jinheng loudly and hit the film boom. The terrifying force hit the membrane, and the oracle bone characters around him flashed brightly. The crumbling film turned out to be a little thicker. Key that you release in defense. It is the strongest formation I currently have. You can't go out, Lin Feng said lightly. You jolly clan are so stupid. Back then, we simply captured a few and prepared to create hybrids, but you guys dared to fight us head-on. Tan Tesheng raised the corners of his lips. In comparison, Lin Feng is much smarter. Stop. Put Kai King down. Kai Jinyoung hit the movie again. Do you think you are qualified to negotiate terms with me? Tan Tesheng grabbed Kai King's arm and walked deeper. To be safe, we need a pawn who will die. After saying that, they walked deeper. Break it. Break it. Kai Jinyoung continued to explode forcefully, but the film was getting thicker and thicker. At the same time, Fen Lin, who was leaning against the coffin, opened his eyes and said, and it seems like I can see daylight again. Chapter 660 Pretending Military Situation. It is not a technique or training, but a method of practice. The entire article can be summarized in 2 words. Change in reality. After integrating the exercises, you can change them as you wish. Resolve Fen Lin's current dilemma. After studying it for so long, he also found some slight changes in the Divine Rebellion and the White Emperor Holy Sword. But from the perspective of the military situation, his changes are simply childish. As long as he practices diligently, Fen Lin is confident that he can kill someone at the Dakan realm without using the 7 deadly needles. As for reality, it is relatively simple. To put it bluntly, it is just a simulation. Others think it is true, but in fact it is false. What others think is false is actually true. Fen Lin had studied for a long time and only learned about the virtual and the real. You cannot pretend to be in any realm using this method. Even in terms of realm, it can surprise Kai Jinyoung. Boom. At this moment, the ground here began to shake violently. Then, several breaths appeared in the distance. The battle lasted only 10 seconds and then stopped. This state should be that of Tan Tesheng or Kai Jinyoung. Fen Lin felt the aura in the distance. It was not far from him, so his divine reaction should be able to help him out. He burst into energy and a shadow hit the wall and disappeared instantly. I'm coming. Fen Lin really felt like he was flying. He immediately used transfer and his figure appeared on a huge triangular altar. Fen Lin looked around. This triangular altar has a side length of about 300 meters. In every corner there is a grave. There are 3 in total. Above the altar there is a huge circular hole. Obviously, all the people in front of me jumped from above. Is it you? How is that possible? Tan Tesheng was clutching Kai King's neck at the moment. In the battle just now, Kai King woke up from a coma and attacked them again. Only then did Tan Tesheng catch Kai King. How could you get there faster than us without a map? Tan Tesheng looked at Fen Lin in confusion. Kai King gritted her teeth and squinted at Fen Lin in the distance. He opened his mouth, wanting Fen Lin to escape, but he couldn't speak. No matter how it got in, it's just an ant. Just kill it. An old man dressed in a black robe on Tan Tesheng's side walked towards Fen Lin. Fen Lin stood with his hands behind his back. He just came out this time. Was he going to pretend? But in the current situation, it is impossible not to pretend. Tan Tesheng's realm was similar to that of Kai Jinyoung, and there were 2 men in black robes beside him. They are all in the Dakan realm. That blue vine is in the last stage of tampering. He's not strong enough, but he knows the formation. How could Fen Lin defeat them? I can only pretend to see it first. Fen Lin thought. Have you given up? I really hope you resist. The black-robed man noticed that Fen Lin was standing still, his tone slightly mocking. Buzz. Suddenly, a pair of large dark red eyes appeared behind Fen Lin. Each eye is more than a meter long. His red eyes stared at the approaching black-robed man. The black-robed man's expression changed and he quickly retreated. Not only him, but Tan Tesheng and others were also looking at those eyes nervously. What bothered me? Do you want to die? Fen Lin let his voice become the vicissitudes of life. Excuse me. Are you the guardian of the tombs here? Tan Te asked in shock. He had been to many tombs and had met some of them. But this time it is the tomb of the 3 wise men from thousands of years ago. How could I still be alive? Now that you're here, don't leave. Fen Lin's ki began to rise from the transformation realm. Resonance, divine aperture, penetration, tempering and the movement around him became stronger and stronger, and Fen Lin's black robe swelled into an oval shape. Dakan Kingdom. The black-robed man who was about to kill Fen Lin said in shock, No. I can't feel it anymore. He immediately retreated to Tan Tesheng's side. Tan Tesheng's eyes became more and more solemn. 2nd level, 3rd level, 4th level, 5th level. Impossible. Tan Tesheng's face turned pale and he couldn't feel it anymore. Could it be that this person has broken through the 5th level of Dakan? Not only him, but everyone else also looked at Fen Lin. With such a huge momentum, they felt their breathing quicken. Lin was a little scared. I was pretending like this. What are you doing standing? Flee. If you keep improving like this, sooner or later you will come to your end. Suddenly, Lin thought of a Woshinyan's move. Then, he gently raised his hand and said, everything returns to its origin. You can all rest in peace. In an instant, a faint red light flashed in the air around him. Seeing this, Tam Teshing was so scared that his scalp went numb. He exclaimed, run. It's a spiritual explosion. He threw Kai King in his hand towards Lin and quickly jumped to a high place. The remaining people were so scared that they immediately fled. Spiritual explosion. Use ki to detonate the spiritual energy around you and launch an indiscriminate attack over a large area. This move can only be performed by those at the 6th level of Dakang. In the blink of an eye, everyone's breath disappeared from Lin's perception. Lin finally breathed a sigh of relief. At Grandma's house, I'm sweating. If they don't flee with this trick, Lin will be ready to flee. However, virtual reality is really powerful. Once you see it, you can imitate its appearance. You, Lin. Kai King stood up from the ground and looked at Lin in shock. What? Don't you know each other? Lin asked lightly. Soul explosion. Kai King was confused. Isn't Lin a human? How big is this man? He is already at the 6th level. Lin was not in the mood to mess with her. Those people would return sooner or later. Using the same method should not work. Lin looked around. This should be the place where the treasure was hidden. A black shadow flew out of him and entered another tomb. Brush. Lin followed him and entered. Another golden shadow attacked Lin. Lin did not bother destroying the formation this time and simply smashed the copper coffin into pieces. Inside, as before, was a headless stone doll. Here, Lin found a dark red longsword, which was very simple. There is almost no decoration. Red blade, black hilt, that's it. Lin put the sword into the space ring and went to another tomb. Use the same method to find a blue longsword that is exactly the same as the red sword except for the color. He put the space ring back and left here. Shit. Are they here again? Lin sensed the fluctuations in the distance and prepared to retreat. Lin. Go and save the Empress. I didn't attack immediately after waking up. I heard from them that the Empress was trapped. Kai King grabbed Lin's arm. Help. Do you think I'm a god? Lin rolled his eyes. Aren't you the 6th level of Dakang? A coward. Kai King punched Lin's armor in anger. 6 farths, I'm just pretending. They are my enemies. If I really had that level, I would have killed them a long time ago. Lin couldn't help but say. What? You, Humph. I knew you were a loser. Kai King's eyes were slightly red and he wiped the blood from his face. Go quickly, I will save the Empress. Hey. I really owe you. Lin sensed that they had arrived and immediately handed the transfer token to Kai King. You go first, I'll save you. How do you save me? Kai King didn't take the token. At least I can't scare them. What can you do? Lin pinched Kai King's chubby face. Come on. It's too late if we don't go. Chapter 661 Two Stinky Bitches. Lin, Kai King's face was full of excitement. In fact, he had gone through 2 battles. Now is the end of the war. He is currently at the 1st level of Dakang and is facing Tan Teshen, one of the top masters of the Tantak family. I can still stand, which is pretty good. Lin, I underestimated you before. If you can rescue the Empress, I will do whatever you ask of me. Kai King shed tears of emotion. He took the transfer token and suddenly disappeared. At the same time, the people in high places jumped again. Tam Teshen, the leader, always felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't figure out what was wrong. He planned to contact this teacher to see if he could find out the other person's details. Lin stood with his hands behind his hands and continued to pretend to be sophisticated. Senior, I'm here. Tam Teshen. Tam Teshen bowed his hands very respectfully. He then looked around, but did not find Kai King. He asked with a smile, "Where was that person now?" Lin said lightly, "It has turned into dust." Tam Teshen was secretly surprised. Clearly he didn't. "I don't feel anything right now, violent vibrations." "Senior, I have absolutely no bad intentions," Tam Teshen asked respectfully. "I wonder what your surname is, Senior." "Just an unknown person," Lin asked flatly. "Who was the monarch of Chu State outside now?" "Chu State?" "Senior, the Chu State in the spring and autumn period has been destroyed for thousands of years." Tam Teshen was a little bored. Is it possible that this person really lived for thousands of years? The rest of the people were also scared. Originally, the kingdom of Chu perished a long time ago, so why am I still guarding the tomb? Fen Lin lowered his head and muttered to himself. When everyone in the distance heard this, they couldn't hide the joy in their hearts. If this person leaves, wouldn't the treasure hidden in the tomb belong to him? Fen Lin's body was gradually enveloped in red qi. Fen Lin used divine rebellion and his true body fled to a higher place. He immediately held all his breath. Quickly go find Kai Jinghan. The people below were still looking at the flame doll. Until the flame man turned into a ball of energy and disappeared. Surprised again. Tan Teshing looked around and did not sense Fen Lin's whereabouts. Too strong. Lan Teng's heart set off huge waves, as he already left here. Stop talking nonsense, it's important to find the baby first. Tan Teshing said sharply, we have wasted a lot of time this time. The 3 tombs here should be where the treasure is. Lan Teng walked towards one of the tombs and came to the white stone door. Press your hand up. It's the heavenly lock formation. Such a powerful heavenly lock formation that it actually incorporates all formations. Lan Teng was extremely surprised. What do you mean? Tan Teshing walked over and asked. As long as there are formations, there are traces of the heavenly locking formation. As long as the heavenly locking formation is broken somewhere, you can go directly to the tomb chamber from anywhere in this mausoleum. This is a disadvantage. Lan Teng lit a cigarette, holding it in his mouth, but the advantage is that if you want to break through the Tinsuo formation with all the formations, even the 9th level of Daken can't do it with brute force. It is indeed the spring and autumn period, an era when talents emerge in large quantities. Tan Teshing lamented in a low voice that he often stole treasures from the tombs of ancient people. Ordinary formations can't stop Daken level 5 at all. As long as the attack is focused on a certain point, the formation can be destroyed. It has destroyed many formations so far. This is just my guess, you can try it. Lan Teng smiled and headed to the grave somewhere else. Tan Teshing narrowed his eyes and concentrated all his strength into his fists. Boom. He knocked on the stone door. There was a strong wind around, spreading in all directions. This huge triangular altar began to shake violently. Around the tomb, dense inscriptions appeared on oracle bones. He easily blocked this attack. As expected from the heavenly lock formation, my full blow did not cause any ripples. Tan Teshing shook his head slightly. Lan, you should have something to do, right? Lan Teng in the distance remained frozen in place without saying a word. Lan. What's wrong with you? Tan Teshing warned with a frown. The heavenly lock formation in my tomb has been broken. Lan Teng put his hand on the stone door and slammed it, causing the stone door to break and collapse. How is that possible? Tan Teshing looked at the broken stone door and appeared in front of Lan Teng. Could it be the person just now? It was not opened by brute force, but by a clever method. Lan Teng's eyes flashed purple. It's amazing. I don't even know what methods the other party used. The baby is important. Tan Teshing quickly entered and found the broken copper coffin. He looked through it and, except for a stone man, it was all jewelry. There was no trace of the treasure. Is it inside the stone? Tan Teshing smashed the stone into pieces. It's just an ordinary stone with nothing on it. Shit. The baby was stolen. Tan Teshing roared angrily. Don't worry, the formation of the remaining 2 has not been broken, give me a day. Lan Teng went to another Tinsuo formation. After Fen Lin stayed away from them, he began to use his strength to find Kai Jinghan's whereabouts. But he didn't know where Kai Jinghan was. Following this path, he found 2 entrances that led here. Remember that in the map above, after exiting the maze, there will be 2 paths. The last 2 paths lead to the coffin. I hope she is on these 2 paths. If she is in the maze, it will be troublesome to find her. Fen Lin entered one of the paths first and found that it was a night path. There was an aura of corruption and a lifeless atmosphere everywhere. He carefully sensed the fluctuations around him and tried to search here. Before he knew it, he reached the finish line. Exit through a black door. Fen Lin looked to the other side and saw the wide door and walked back in. If you can't find it here, you can only go to the maze to find it. The scenery along this road is much more comfortable. The birds are singing, the flowers are fragrant, and spring is in full bloom. Fen Lin suddenly felt the earth tremble and immediately ran in the direction. Finally I felt a powerful aura. It was Kai Jinghan. Fen Lin discovered that there was a red ball with an oracle bone written on it and he couldn't see what was happening inside. He asked, who was inside? Fen Lin. Is that you? Kai Jinghan's voice was a little surprised. Are you okay? Of course I'm fine. If I hadn't saved you, I would have. Run away. Fen Lin muttered and pressed his hand on the red ball. Kai King was captured by them. Kai Jinghan hurriedly said. I gave him the token I transferred to Kai King and asked him to leave first. Fen Lin said fiercely, but I can't leave now, damn it. These two stinky bitches will only stop me. You're presumptuous. Kai Jinyoung's voice was a little timid and angry. Being ridiculed by this ant, she couldn't find a reason to refute him. Fen Lin snorted coldly, Kai Jinyoung, if you don't admit your mistake today and give me a facial cleanser, I won't save you. No. Fen Lin. Tam Teshing is here. Kai Jinyoung said hurriedly. That. Fen Lin frowned. It seemed that Lan Tan would need a long time to break the formation. That's why Tam Teshing was ready to come and take a look. A little problematic. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 662 I just want to calm down. Fen Lin was about to escape, but suddenly remembered his rebellion. Then, a shadow flew out from him, penetrated the formation, and appeared next to Kai Jinyoung. Fen Lin immediately used transfer and entered the formation. How did you get in? Kai Jinyoung couldn't believe it. I don't know. Maybe the technique I gave myself is more powerful. Since Fen Lin learned to rebel, nothing has been able to catch him. According to his understanding, when performing a divine counterattack, it will become a temporary state of nothingness. You can ignore everything. For example, being trapped by Kai Jinyoung's compressed air or being trapped by the chains Liu Nan gave him. He can use divine counterattack to break free. Were there any tokens for transferring the formation here? Fen Lin asked, looking at the two tokens next to Kai Jinyoung. Yes. I was fooled by this token. Kai Jinyoung's face was overjoyed and he handed one to Fen Lin. Can you come out? You should be able to do it. Another shadow flew out from Fen Lin's body. But when it came to the movie, it disappeared. What the hell? I can't go out. Fen Lin scratched his head. I remember that this formation can absorb ki. The shadow you fly is made of ki. Kai Jinyoung looked at Fen Lin helplessly, that is, you can only enter but not exit. Haha, it seems, the two of us will be trapped here for the rest of our lives. Fen Lin smiled. In fact, he still had a way to escape. And in more ways than one. How long have you been laughing? Kai Jinyoung looked at Fen Lin. Empress, I haven't seen you for a long time. The transparent film has become so thick. There is so much ki. Tam Teshing's mocking voice came from a distance. HNPH. I don't think this formation can trap me for the rest of my life. Kai Jinyoung snorted coldly. Who knows? Tam Teshing chuckled a few times. What's more, without your support, the conservatives of the formation Jiggly tribe will soon fall into Li Hinshan's hands. What if they fall into Li Hinshan's hands? You guys. The Tantak family is still our enemy. Kai Jinyoung sneered, their revenge against you is even more cruel. You are thinking too much. Li Hinshan is smarter than you, he is a friend of our Tantak family. Tam Teshing couldn't help but laugh. Who are you lying to? Kai Jinyoung didn't believe it at all. Believe it or not, Tam Teshing smiled and walked away. I came here to say goodbye to you. When we find the baby, we'll leave. You can enjoy the solitude here. After a while, he breathed. He just disappears here. Are you saying this on purpose because you want our Jiggly tribe to start a civil war? I won't be fooled. Kai Jinyoung suddenly looked at Fen Lin. I found that he took off his battle helmet, leaned his head on it, closed his eyes, and didn't seem anxious at all. Get up. I'm so anxious and you still want to sleep. Kai Jinyoung grabbed Fen Lin's ear. Hiss. Let go. Fen Lin gasped in pain. HNPH. You dared to make fun of me just now. I've treated you well enough without killing you. Kai Jinyoung said viciously before letting go of Fen Lin. I'm telling the truth. It's you who's holding me back. Fen Lin grabbed a small strand of Kai Jinyoung's long silver hair and chuckled, if you behave, I can save you again and let you go. This formation, do you have any ideas? Kai Jinyoung immediately looked at Fen Lin, his red eyes looking at Fen Lin. Of course I do, but now I'm very nervous and I can't remember. Fen Lin gently touched the ears and said, the facial cleanser should be the only one that can calm my nervousness. Wash, Fen Lin, let me give you a face. Kai Jinyoung's face was gloomy, believe it or not. I will not kill you. Kill, whenever you can do it. Fen Lin was still a little scared. And he immediately said the favor that Kai Jinyoung owed him. I healed your hidden wound, you could have left, but you let Kai King go first, just tempering your realm, and you came to save yourself. I am very good to you, but you want to kill me. Kai Jinyoung had nothing to say, and suddenly pointed at Fen Lin and said, I saved you when I faced Li Hinshan. Think about it carefully. Why did I use you to save you? Fen Lin pursed his lips. Kai Jinheng bit his teeth, and the ghost loud illusion had already caught the transfer formation on Fen Lin. You can't really use yourself. Huh. Kai Jinheng suddenly calmed down. Why did his mood fluctuate so much when he faced Fen Lin recently? Who was he? Immediately, Kai Jinheng's expression returned to its previous cold expression. Fen Lin, you are my pet. A proper hug is really not too much. No matter how you scold me, I just need to calm down. Fen Lin pointed, picking up Kai Jinheng's upper body armor. Take this off. Fen Lin. Don't try too hard. Kai Jinheng's voice was cold and chilling. Fen Lin was not afraid at all. Who are you trying to scare? If you don't take off your clothes, we won't call it facial cleanser, but facial cleansing iron. You're very good. Fen Lin, if you can't let me out, I will tear off your face first. Mouth. Kai Jinheng said fiercely. He took off his armor, revealing black stockings underneath. But the tights resisted things that were not meant to resist. Your Lady Empress, I really have no bad thoughts. I just want to calm down. Fen Lin had a solemn expression on his face, and then rested his head on Kai Jinheng's lap. His eyes were suddenly blinded. This kind of blindness was better than Zhu Boying's. Ah. My impetuous heart has really calmed down, Fen Lin exhaled. Have you thought about it? Kai Jinheng was so angry that he wanted to teach him a lesson if he could get out. Almost. Fen Lin paused for a long time and reminded. Sister, what did I do before I entered? Before I entered. Kai Jinheng looked at the transfer token on the side. His eyes suddenly widened. He put his transfer token into the space ring. After Fen Lin instructed him, Kai Jinheng suddenly realized. Tam Teshing said before that they couldn't go out. It was obviously Fen Lin who put these tokens in the space ring. If he uses these tokens, he can transfer them to those people. Kai Jinheng pushed Fen Lin's head and immediately put on his armor. He stretched out his hand and said, take the token outside. Hey, all women are big pigs. Just tell me to get out of here after using me. Fen Lin took out a token from the space ring. Pass, you told Kai Jinheng. Kai Jinheng looked at Fen Lin indifferently, and this man helped her again. Just when she was about to leave, Fen Lin took out a pair of tokens from the ground and handed him one. Take it with you so that I can find you at any time. Okay. Kai Jinheng accepted the token and activated it. Transfer the formation and disappeared here. He stretched out and had no intention of going out immediately. There are many masters out there, and fighting against those people will have no real effect. Since he couldn't leave these ruins now, he could calm down and study the military situation. There was a big boom. Vibration in the distance, and then, the violent energy caused continuous earthquakes on the ground. Fen Lin lay down on the ground, calmed down, and changed his skills according to the military situation chapter. If you can master it, you will definitely be able to escape from Owo. Share you next time. And Chapter 663, Begging for Mercy. Instantly, Kai Jinheng was the first to move to Lan Ten. Lan Ten turned pale with fear and sat on the ground. But Kai Jinheng did not kill him. This man knew the formation, and it was the key to getting out of here. He looked around and, without saying a word, grabbed the collar of a man dressed in a black robe. The golden light flashes. Click. The black-robed man's neck was crushed. Kai Jinheng threw the opponent with all his strength and fell into the endless abyss beneath the altar. Empress. Tam Teshing couldn't believe it. How did you get out? Before I answer your question, I will kill all these people first. Kai Jinheng's long silver hair danced wildly. His eyes were cold and domineering. He attacked another man dressed in a black robe, and now Fen Lin had healed his wound. She has no scruples. Use the transfer formation quickly and retreat. Tam Teshing immediately rushed towards Kai Jinheng. All the people here dispersed, activating the transfer token and jumping to high places. Call. Kai Jinheng spread his black wings. With a snap, he arrived in front of another man dressed in a black robe. A golden ray of light flashed from his palm, slashing at the black-robed man's neck. She killed these two people to help Fen Lin resolve the crisis. Tam Teshing was blocked by her, and the remaining two people, one in the middle tempering stage and the other in a late tempering stage, could never threaten Fen Lin. Oh. Right after she beheaded the black-robed man, Lan Ten and the other young woman walked away. Tam Teshing, I will kill you today. Kai Jinheng was suspended in the air and quickly flew towards Tam Teshing. We are both at the 5th level. You are only at the peak of the 5th level. Do you think I am afraid of you? Tam Teshing roared angrily, burst out forcefully, and faced Kai Jinheng head-on. And the battle continues. Fen Lin lay in his formation, turning a deaf ear and studying deeply. He was completely immersed in the military situation, and with the experience of his predecessors, he did not know how many detours it would save him. "Madam, how could the Empress get out of your formation?" A woman's voice came not far away. "I don't know, this formation is not broken, huh? There is someone inside," Lan Ten suddenly said in shock. Fen Lin frowned slightly when he heard the sound outside. "Get out. Don't bother me." Fen Lin's voice surprised the two of them. I remember this voice. It was the first person who followed the Empress and complained that she heard it frequently. Tam Tak Piao took a few steps back and remembered. "Boy. How did you get in?" Lan Ten didn't believe it. How could his strongest formation of loopholes? In order to test the strength of this formation, he specifically asked the ancestor of the Tam Tak family to destroy it himself. Even if he was able to get out except by using the transfer formation. "Is it a transfer formation?" Tam Tak Piao asked in a deep voice. "Probably not. If he and the Empress could move, the Empress would have come out a long time ago." Lan Ten walked towards the dark red formation and placed his hand on the formation. "There are no signs of damage on the formation. Is it really a transfer formation?" "The two people outside, do not disturb my retreat. If you make me angry, I'll come out and kill you all," Fen Lin said from inside. "Boy with weak kidneys. You're in the initial temperament stage. Why are you so crazy?" Tam Tak Piao looked at the formation with his cold eyes. You should know that Fen Lin has maintained the state of the initial tempering stage before entering. Too low will make people suspicious. The reason why that I did not show all my strength was to restrain myself. He simply confirmed the falseness and reality of the military situation. "Girls, do you dare to call me vain? Come in and I'll show you," Fen Lin shouted from inside. "Come out if you have the guts. Let's see if I don't castrate you," Tam Tak Piao shouted viciously. "Boy, how did you get in? Could it be the elder from before?" Lan Ten thought of the mysterious man from before. Although he wears a black robe, he looks a lot like this person. Could it be that he is possessed by the legendary person? Fen Lin was too lazy to pay attention to them, and continued studying. Anyway, with this formation blocking them, they would not be able to enter for the time being. "Ladam, untie that formation. I'm going to castrate him. Maybe I can use it to threaten the Empress." Tam Tak Piao looked at Lan Ten and said, "Okay. Wait 5 minutes." Lan Ten nodded and placed his palm on the formation. Hearing that there was no movement inside, Tam Tak Piao thought that Fen Lin was scared and sneered. "Boy, are you too afraid to speak? You can still be crazy for 5 minutes." Fen Lin continued to study. Anyway, these two people, he also ignores it. 5 minutes later. The dark red ball emits red light and slowly dissipates. Fen Lin, who was lying in the formation, he met the two people in front of him. Fen Lin was not wearing a battle helmet, he was still resting on it. He stretched and stood up from the ground. Tam Tak Piao looked at Fen Lin's face and felt that he looked familiar. He suddenly pointed at Fen Lin coldly. "You're Fen Lin. The Fen Lin who killed my brother. I'm quite famous." Fen Lin put the helmet and mask on the space ring and looked indifferently. The two said, "Guess how many seconds it will take me to kill you. Go quickly. This forest ceiling is not easy." Formation runes erupted from Lan Ten's body and he was ready to leave. "I'm not afraid of him." Any early stages of temperament. Tam Tak Piao's eyes flashed white and he rushed towards Fen Lin. "I don't care about you." Lan Ten suddenly disappeared here and heard that Tan Ten was protected by masters in the late stages of temperament. Not only did Tan Ten die, but the teacher also died. The Fen Lin in front of him definitely had something hidden. Tam Tak Piao just arrived at Fen Lin and found that he suddenly disappeared. Next moment, a dagger fell on Tam Tak Piao's neck. "Was it you who wanted to castrate me just now?" "Brother, I was wrong. Don't kill me." Tam Tak Piao suddenly raised his hand and knelt on the ground with a plop. This time Fen Lin was in trouble and also met many people begging for mercy. But she was the first person to be so aggressive 1 second and kneel the next second. "Forgive me, I didn't know you were so powerful. Please don't kill me. I haven't even had a boyfriend. I don't want to die." Tam Tak Piao madly bowed to Fen Lin, her eyes filled with tears. In the grass below, his head made a hole. "Hand over all the transfer tokens you have." Fen Lin frowned, feeling something was wrong. Tam Tak Piao immediately put the transfer token on the ground. "Why are these tokens different shapes?" Fen Lin had been surprised before. Some were rectangular and others oval. The rectangle is a one-way transfer, that is, it can only be transferred from no. 1 to no. 2, but not from no. 2 to no. 1. The oval is a two-way transfer, and both sides can be transferred. Tam Tak Piao explained. Two-way transfer is very valuable and requires more than twice the time to carve. Is there anything else you can say? Fen Lin took out the remaining tokens in the space ring. We find two unidirectional and two bidirectional. These two are one-way, used by our servants, the two men in black robes. Tam Tak Piao explained. I can only transfer to them, they can't transfer to me, but I can transfer to my grandfather in both of them. Understood. Fen Lin looked at his partners and Kai Jinyang's chips. It is a one-way transfer. He had the number 2, which meant that Kai Jinyang could only move to his side, but not to the opponent's side. It's good to know in advance, otherwise there will be problems. Fen Lin, it's been so long, do you feel any discomfort? Tam Tak Piao suddenly asked with a smile. Chapter 664 follows. After being reminded, Fen Lin immediately took a few steps back. He felt his body and did not feel any discomfort. Suddenly, he noticed that many small black characters appeared on his fingers. These small words went up the back of his hand, began to spread, and turned into a root composed of black words, entangling Fen Lin. What did you do to me? Fen Lin was surprised. He still doesn't know when he was fooled. The members of the Tam Tak family of my generation have the blood of at least 10 races. As long as we can remember, we will develop the abilities of each race and find what we are best at. Tam Tak Piao noted to himself, what I am best at. Ability comes from the Wu clan. Having said this, Tam Tak Piao took off his leather mask. Several black light symbols appeared around the corners of his mouth. It doesn't look like an oracle bone rune, but another mysterious symbol. This race can control the spiritual energy around you after birth, but there will be symbols engraved on the mouth. Tam Tak Piao coldly pointed out to Fen Lin, when I contacted you, the spiritual energy around you has already been used by my suffer death. Swish. Countless black spikes appeared around Fen Lin, piercing into Fen Lin's body from all directions. HNPH. You still want to fight me? Tam Tak Piao pursed her lips disdainfully and put on the leather mask again. Is that all? Fen Lin's voice came from behind Tam Tak Piao. That. Tam Tak Piao quickly turned around. Brush. The dagger in Fen Lin's hand slashed his neck. Blood spilled on the ground. Tam Tak Piao covered his neck and flew back. A series of black words appeared on his injured neck, like a piece of duct tape, covering his wound. She looked at Fen Lin in shock, feeling helpless. How did he escape? Tam Tak Piao quickly took out a token from the space ring. Fen Lin gently raised his hand. Swish, brush, brush. 3 dark red swords penetrated his body like meteorites. Fen Lin stepped forward, walked in front of Tam Tak Piao, and snatched the token from her hand. You, Tam Tak Piao was shocked, blood gradually overflowing from under the mask and flowing down his neck. I am an honest man. I originally planned to let you go and you didn't attack me, but you decided to kill me. Fen Lin took the space ring from Tam Tak Piao and said calmly, rest in peace. Tam Tak Piao looked with incredible eyes and fell to the ground. Fen Lin used Ash Holy Goo to evaporate the man's body. He then opened his space ring and found that there was no token inside. He ordered all these chips. It was discovered that there are 4 oval-shaped tokens here. One was found by Fen Lin from outside and the other was found in Tam Tak Piao. Apparently this was a pair he planned to transfer and use. The remaining 2 are single, and as he just said, one of them was transferred to Tan Tesheng. The other is to Mugulan 10. Buzz. At this moment, one of the 2A transfer tokens lit up. Fen Lin was so scared that he immediately threw away the token. Brush. An old man appeared here with a flat head covered in blood. He is Tan Tesheng. It's you. Tan Tesheng looked at Fen Lin's face and suddenly grabbed him. Call. The air around Fen Lin began to roar and compress. Oh. At this time, Kai Jinyang also walked over. Her long silver hair was currently shining with golden light, like a Valkyrie. I want to run. Kai Jinyang's armor was also damaged in several places and blood leaked from the inside. But Kai Jinyang's fighting spirit was overwhelming and his strength did not weaken at all. Tam Tesheng looked at his granddaughter token on the ground and didn't care about her life or death. Anyway, she had many descendants. Tam Tesheng immediately threw the token in his hand to the ground. He took out another one and disappeared here. He threw away the 2A transfer token because he was afraid that Kai Jinyang would use his granddaughter token to find him again. Damn it. Let him run away again. Kai Jinyang cursed angrily. No hurry. Fen Lin smiled, took out a token and handed it to Kai Jinyang. You should be able to find it if you use this. Oh really? Kai Jinyang took the token and used transfer. And disappeared. It is here. The next moment, he appeared next to Lan Tan, who was studying the formations here. Tam Teshing was panting not far away, and when he saw Kai Jinyoung appear here again, his face turned a little pale. "Let me see where you are going this time." Kai Jinyoung roared angrily. As expected at the Empress, the Jia clan at its peak is truly terrifying. Tam Teshing has reached his limit. After all, he is an old man. Kai Jinyoung is now at his peak level. "Empress, I advise you not to act." Tam Teshing took a pill and tried his best to calm his breathing, landing his mind. "I just gave an order. If I die, you will commit suicide. That's it. If I commit suicide, you will be locked here for the rest of your life," Lan Teng said from the side. Kai Jinyoung's red eyes gradually narrowed into a thin line. "Empress, you're a smart person, how about if we cooperate?" After discovering that Kai Jinyoung calmed down, Tam Teshing also breathed a sigh of relief and continued. "Now there are 2 babies left, 1 for each of us, and finally going out together, wouldn't it be beautiful?" Kai Jinyoung asked in a deep voice, "Why are there 2 treasures left?" "One of the tombs in the Tomb of the 3 Kings has been robbed, but the remaining 2 have not been damaged," Tam Teshing explained. Kai Jinyoung asked. Surprised, could it be Fen Lin? He said before that he was ready to leave, but he gave Kai King the opportunity. Why would he leave if he didn't have the baby? Obviously, the thing had fallen into Fen Lin's hands. "All right. I promise you for the moment that we will meet at the triangular altar." After Kai Jinyoung finished speaking, he used the transfer formation and headed towards Fen Lin. "What should we do? If we take out the treasure, the Empress probably won't share it equally with us." Lan Ten frowned when he noticed Kai Jinyoung leaving. "Can you untie the formation and leave?" Tam Teshing asked. "I just tried, it's okay." Lan Ten nodded. "Can I go somewhere?" Tam Teshing asked. "Not bad. Okay. Go to the altar, pretend to solve the tomb chamber formation, but actually use the fastest speed to get out of here." Tam Teshing put the transfer tokens from his body into the space ring, leaving only 1 to transfer with Lan Ten token. "As long as you come out, I will transfer you immediately. If we can't get the baby, she never will." "Okay." Lan Ten also put all the tokens on his body into the space ring, leaving only Tam Teshing and Tam Teshing to transfer the token. Fen Lin, on his side, lay comfortably on the grass, studying the token. "Wow." Suddenly, Kai Jinyoung appeared in front of Fen Lin. "Take off your armor quickly and I will heal your wounds." Fen Lin looked at her with a smile. Kai Jinyoung looked at Fen Lin indifferently. He stretched out his jade hand. "Hand over the baby." "What baby?" Fen Lin looked confused. "Don't think I don't know, you already have the treasure here, otherwise why would you leave?" Kai Jinyoung said lightly. "I will give it to you when I come out," Fen Lin said with a smile. "Okay." Kai Jinyoung grabbed Fen Lin's arm and ran towards the triangular altar. After arriving here, I found that Lan Ten had already started to break the formation. Tam Teshing sat cross-legged in the distance, repairing his wounds as quickly as possible. None of them spoke. A few hours passed before I realized. Suddenly, a circle of water waves appeared in front of Lan Ten, and he immediately walked in. "He wants to escape," Fen Lin suddenly said. "What?" Just as Kai Jinyoung stood up, Tam Teshing attacked Kai Jinyoung from a distance. Fen Lin immediately used divine counterattack and rushed towards the circle of waves. The surrounding environment suddenly changed. Fen Lin and Lan Ten appeared outside the huge mausoleum in an instant. "Not bad. It's really amazing. Come with us." 2 men in white military uniforms came from a distance. Yunyan Crusaders. Apparently, they were waiting here early. Chapter 665. You're all my wings. The weather outside now is already early in the morning. There was only a pale yellow waning moon in the night sky. On the hillside in the distance, 2 Yunyan Crusaders were walking towards here. They are a man and a woman. When Fen Lin noticed the woman, he immediately turned around. "Put on your battle helmet and mask." Luo Shenyan grabbed the brim of his military cap with one hand, his purple eyes shining brightly in the dark night. "Take this person away," Luo Shenyan said coldly. "Yes." The tall man next to him nodded slightly. "You want to catch me?" Lan Ten sneered, and quickly retreated, oracle bone runes appearing around his body. Boom. In an instant, the fist of the tall man in the distance landed on Lan Ten's chest. "Beyond your perception." "Wow." Lan Ten's eyes widened and he let out a mouthful of blood. The pain in his body was like breaking into pieces and he fell to the ground on the spot, unconscious. There was no room for resistance. The tall man grabbed Lan Ten with one hand, put it on his shoulder, and prepared to leave. Buzz. At this moment, the token on Lan Ten's body shone brightly. Brush. Tam Teshing appears here. "Lan, let's go quickly, Yunyan Crusaders." Tan Teshing turned pale with fear and immediately ran away from the ruins without looking back. The tall man looked at Luo Shenyan, as if waiting for his order. There was no need to chase him. Take him first, Luo Shenyan said calmly. Yeah. The tall man also followed and left the ruins. Now, only Fen Lin and Luo Shenyan left here. Fen Lin, we meet again. Luo Shenyan's eyes seem to be able to kill people. Luo Shenyan, I advise you to keep your word. You promised Lao Si not to kill me. Fen Lin was a little scared. Although he obtained the treasure, he still had to have time to practice. But I can torture you. Luo Shenyan walked towards Fen Lin step by step. At this moment, Fen Lin's token also lit up. In the darkness, Kai Jinheng with long silver hair appeared in front of Fen Lin. Heptars. Fen Lin smiled and hid behind Kai Jinheng, poked his head out and said, Luo Shenyan. Do you think I'm alone? Come here. Kai Jinheng looked at Luo Shenyan in front of him. Fen Lin did not. He doesn't lie to himself. It's just a Jili tribe, you think she can't stop me? Luo Shenyan said indifferently. Fen Lin, you go first. Kai Jinheng said expressionlessly. He can't leave. Luo Shenyan lowered the brim of his hat and his voice became colder. The air around him began to solidify. Fen Lin always felt a little panicked. Well, two sisters, shut up. Kai Jinheng and Luo Shenyan shouted in unison. Who are you? Luo Shenyan pointed at Fen Lin and asked sadly. Is he my pet? Kai Jinheng replied coldly. Presumptuous. Luo Shenyan's ki exploded instantly and a strong wind whipped around him. A mere pet of the Jili tribe really allowed me to have his child. Fen Lin is my pet. Luo Shenyan shouted coldly. Stop making trouble, you are all my wings, okay? Fen Lin yelled at the two of them. Get out. The two shouted loudly at the same time, releasing their energy together. Qi-Jin controls the surrounding spiritual energy and emits incomparable power. Boom. They collided. The terrifying power formed a substantial wave and spread in all directions. Wherever he passed, the earth collapsed and shattered, as if it were the end of the world. Fen Lin was shaken 100 meters by this force before stabilizing his body. Fortunately, this is a ruin. If it is outside, it can cause a large earthquake in the surrounding area. A master of this level is really powerful. I want to shake your hand today to break through the realm. Kai Jinheng's entire body shone with golden light. How many moves do you think you can resist me? Luo Shenyan's body suddenly glowed a strange purple color. It was obvious that the aura Luo Shenyan exuded was much stronger than Kai Jinheng. Don't fight anymore. If you want to fight, go to the dance studio. Fen Lin ran over again and stood between the two. He first looked at Kai Jinheng and shook his head gently at her. Don't worry, she promised my brother that she wouldn't kill me. Then Fen Lin looked at Luo Shenyan. What the hell are you going to do? For me. Come here. Luo Shenyan raised his fingers towards Fen Lin. Fen Lin's eyes were half closed, but he approached cautiously. He approached Luo Shenyan and asked, Do you want to? You're paralyzed. Luo Shenyan cursed angrily and kicked Fen Lin in the stomach. Fen Lin's body was like a cannonball, flying backwards and hitting the hillside in the distance. Luo Shenyan snorted coldly, adjusted his military cap and turned to leave. It's your grandmother's. Wait for me. Fen Lin walked out of the pit. Fortunately, he had this armor to defend himself. However, Luo Shenyan also did not use ki. Even if he does not wear armor, it will only cause Fen Lin pain for a while at most and there will be no "Are you okay?" Kai Jinheng asked from a distance. It's okay. Fen Lin shook his head. After all, he would talk to her later. Jinheng, I want to thank you this time. Fen Lin took off her mask and helmet and said with a smile. No matter what Kai Jinheng's purpose was, Fen Lin should be grateful that she dared to protect herself in front of someone stronger than her. What did you call me? Kai Jinheng always felt that something was wrong. Stop barking if you don't like it. Let's go back first. Fen Lin walked out of the ruins. Kai Jinheng followed Fen Lin. From the hillside to the uninhabited road below, only the chirping of some birds and insects can be heard. After a while, Kai King appeared in the distance. He knelt on the ground excitedly, with tears in his eyes. Empress, Kai King deserves to die. Be smart next time and don't be reckless. Kai Jinheng did not blame Kai King. Fen Lin. Thank you, I apologize for being rude earlier. Kai King bowed his head towards Fen Lin again. He couldn't wait to find a crack in the ground and get into it. He had already been bothering others before. In the end, he not only saved himself, but also rescued the Empress. However, Kai King did not help at all and instead caused the Empress to be trapped. Call Li Feng and we will go back now. Kai Jinheng looked at Kai Kim. Yes. Kai King took out his cell phone. Fen Lin stood aside, crossing his arms and thinking. Luo Shenyan's purpose this time seems to be just for Lan Ten. Get that person. Not long after, Lin Feng drove and parked on the side of the road. Fen Lin and the other 3 people got into the car and left here. Empress, shortly after I came out, I saw the Crusaders. Yang and I ran away immediately, but they didn't chase me, Kai King said in the car. I know. Kai Jinheng put his hand on his cheek as he thought and suddenly asked, Fen Lin, what did Luo Shenyan do? He asked someone to take Lan Ten away, Fen Lin explained. Lan Feng. Is it possible? Kai Jin's eyes widened. All those people with strong formation abilities disappeared. Is it related to the Yin Crusade? Chapter 666. It is indeed a famous sword. What's wrong? Fen Lin asked from the back row. Kai Jinheng shook his head gently and closed his eyes to rest. The only unpleasant thing this time was not meeting Luo Shenyan. Instead, Tam Teshing escaped. Returned to Samking Kang City. It's 3 in the morning. Fen Lin and others returned to the ruins. Let's rest first. Let's wait until tomorrow. Kai Jinheng walked through the black tower and jumped into his room. Fen Lin took out the space ring quilt, took off his armor, and could finally relax. Kai King on the side also took out the quilt and lay down. This time, Fen Lin slept until noon. After opening his eyes, he found that Kai King was gone. Kai Jinheng was sitting at a stone table not far away, reading books. Under the sunlight, the long silver hair reflects the light and is beautiful. Are you awake? Kai Jinheng looked at Fen Lin, then take the baby out. Oh. I only care about the baby. Is this your attitude towards your benefactor? Fen Lin stretched and sat up. Get up. In front of Luo Shenyan, I also saved you. Kai Jinheng said expressionlessly. I'm saving you. If I hadn't stopped you from fighting, she might have killed you. Fen Lin touched the space ring, and a red sword and a blue sword appeared in his hands respectively. He felt that these 2 swords matched him very well. After all, his White Emperor's holy sword is also red and blue. These are the 2 swords I have in the tomb. Fen Lin put the swords on the stone table. Is this General Moxie of your human clan? Kai Jinheng picked up a red sword and looked at it carefully. It does not have anything special. Anyway, I think it's a treasure. Fen Lin also took the blue sword and shook it gently several times. There are 3 tombs in total, one of which has a military chapter. The remaining 2 cannot be justified if they are not treasures. Fen Lin poured key into it and the blue sword gradually glowed with light. He struck hard in front of him and a 3-meter-long crack opened in the ground. Fen Lin frowned. He could make this kind of crack with any sword. Is it really nonsense? Fen Lin was also a little unsure. What other treasures are there? Kai Jinheng placed the red sword on the stone table. The last one. Fen Lin took out the military situation chapter and handed it to Kai Jinheng. What does it say? Kai Jinheng couldn't understand the words. Sun Tzu's Art of War, military situation. I will give you the translated text when I have time. Fen Lin said with a smile. Kai Jinheng returned the things to Fen Lin. Come on. Test the hardness. If it really breaks, it must be rubbish. Fen Lin motioned for Kai Jinheng to pick up the red sword. Kai Jinheng nodded. He didn't want to work in vain. He picked up the red sword and put key into it. The same goes for Fen Lin. The 2 attacked each other with each other's weapons at the same time. Boom. When the 2 weapons collided, Fen Lin discovered the words floating above them. Stop. There's a formation engraved on it. Fen Lin withdrew his sword, put his hand on the blade and felt it carefully. Then, he took out the red sword again and felt the marks on it. Heptars, heptars. Fen Lin burst into ecstasy. It is indeed a treasure. It is indeed a legendary sword. What did you find? Kai Jinheng asked from the side. The red sword is called Gachang, and the formation on it is piercing. The blue sword is called Moi, and the formation is cutting. Fen Lin took the blue sword. Simple understanding: when the opponent cannot defend the formation, as long as you fight with everything the sword touches can be cut. That. Kai Jinheng's eyes widened and he couldn't believe it. Come on, try it. As soon as he finished speaking, flame marks flashed between his eyebrows. She raised her hand and a physical golden shield appeared in front of her. This is my strongest defense with the blessing and the power of my ancestors. Kai Jinheng pointed his shield at Fen Lin. Here it comes. Fen Lin activated the formation and the blue sword emitted a faint light. Brush. When the blue sword touched the shield gradually split into 2 halves. Kai Jinheng, who was behind, immediately backed away. If you take this sword, wouldn't you be invincible? Kai Jinheng was secretly surprised. No wonder Yan Huang was able to defeat his ancestor Kai Yu back then. These people have a problem. No, the formation is only limited to the sword. When I face true masters, let alone cut them, I may not be able to get close. Fen Lin shook his head. So these two swords are useless to you. Give them to me. Kai Jinheng looked at Fen Lin calmly. You are so shameless. This time in the Tomb of the Three Kings, you stalked me, saved yourself twice, and ended up stealing my treasure. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. My wife wouldn't dare to take advantage of me like this. Fen Lin, watch your words. Kai Jinheng stood with his hands behind his back and said proudly. I couldn't help it if in fact, she had no confidence in her heart. But as a majestic empress, she can't lower her noble head in front of Fen Lin, right? The crown on your head will fall. If you are strong, you'll bully me. Fen Lin curled his lips and said, forget it, you're old and you are right. I'll give you this blue sword. Really? Kai Jinheng was a little unsure. See, Fen Lin really didn't want to give it to him. He certainly wouldn't ask for it blatantly. Really, in comparison, entrepreneurs who cut things into pieces are more useful. For me. Fen Lin handed the blue sword to Fen Lin. Autumn. Kai Jinheng caught lightly and put the sword into the space ring. Fen Lin, you have made great achievements this time. What reward do you want? Just a few minutes of brainwaves. Fen Lin also turned red. He put away the sword and said calmly. What? Kai Jinheng asked strangely. Brain. Fen Lin pointed his forehead, and then looked in front of Kai Jinheng. Both you and are looking for death. Preventing Fen Lin from seeing his embarrassment, Fen Lin steadied himself and shouted, you asked me to talk about rewards, but words don't count. Get out. Kai Jinheng said angrily. I owe you these few minutes. Now you'll have to return them next time. Fen Lin couldn't wait to go back and study the military situation. This kind of treasure should be useful to both the second master and the father. Looking at Fen Lin's leaving figure, Kai Jinheng covered his heart and felt his heartbeat. Fen Lin returned to Fengshan. First, translate all the methods recorded above. Leave it to Men Changshen. The second master didn't care at first, but after taking a look, he was instantly shocked. There aren't many things that can make you read a few words better than 10 years of reading. Fen Lin went to the depths of Fengshan Mountain and practiced hard. 10 days passed in a blink of an eye. Because he was so obsessed, Fen Lin didn't even back away halfway. Until a phone call woke me up. He picked it up and looked at it. It was Ji Guangling's phone. Old master, what's wrong? Fen Lin asked with a smile. Now, there was a hint of confidence in his eyes. Facing the Dakan realm, there was no need to take 7 life-threatening needles. He thought he could end the attack with a sneak attack. As for the Luo Shanyan, although it can't hurt him, Fen Lin would surely escape from her. Aren't you busy lately? You can contact the Holy See in the near future to deal with the real humans. Ji Guangling asked there. We are no longer busy. Please let me know before we act. Fen Lin looked forward with a smile and there was a flame clone standing not far away. In the clone's hand, he held a dark red-white Emperor Holy Sword. Chapter 667 Alliance. Fen Lin hung up the phone and stretched his body. The flame clone in front of him turned into ki and dissipated without form. He put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked towards the Fengshan ruins. Although there has been no progress in the area, the quality has improved tremendously. Return to the ruins. Fen Lin found out that Zhu Ruoying and Mu Fei were not here. After asking the second master, I learned that they followed way under the peony flowers to perform national tasks. Second master, hasn't the fifth son returned yet? Fen Lin counted the time and found that a month had passed. Logically speaking, he should be given peace of mind. Fen Lin called her just now, but she showed that she was not in the service area. No. Men Changshan shook his head slightly. Take the time to ask the Hidden Legion to see if there was an accident. Okay, Fen Lin nodded. He sat opposite Men Changshan and asked with a smile. Second master, how are your recent studies? Hey. I'm old, my body coordination is not good, and I'm a little unable to do what I want. Men Changshan took out his cigarette bag and took a deep breath. It's not so simple for elders to make changes. Change slowly, you have plenty of time anyway, Fen Lin said with a smile. I can improve a little. Well, judging from your appearance, I should have managed a lot, right? Men Changshan looked at Fen Lin. The realm has not improved, but relatively speaking, it has become more stable. Fen Lin nodded with a smile. He took out his mobile phone and called Lanny. Fen Lin, what's wrong? Lanny's voice came from there. I want you to help me check what mission Kihui is doing. It's been a month and there is still no news, Fen Lin said over the phone. Jinku Jikiru. She submitted the assignment half a month ago. Didn't she come back? Lan asked strangely. What? He submitted the assignment half a month ago. But he didn't come back, Fen Lin said with a frown. Then I don't know, Lan said there. Fen Lin felt inexplicably worried. Send someone to check it, I'm afraid it is in danger. Okay. I'll investigate right away. After Lan finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Fen Lin walked towards the distance, where Zhao King was fighting with people under the peony flowers. As for Yishin and Jiamu, I heard that they returned from time to time during this period. After all, their parents got married and the two became biological sisters. Fen Lin returned to the villa, took a shower, changed his clothes, and prepared to sleep. Back in the room, Kaikioki and Wenmo were as usual. Play games on your phone and eat snacks here. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. Anyway, there were many rooms in the villa. He went to Zhu Ruan's room and lay down to sleep. After a while, the mobile phone next to him woke up Fen Lin. He looked at his phone and found that it was Lanny's call. It should be news about Lao Wu. Fen Lin immediately answered the phone and asked, is there any news? Shanggong Temple may have been captured by Shang Wifugui. Lanny said in a deep voice there. Shang Wifugui? Who is it? Fen Lin looked puzzled. You can ask Mr. Meng, he should know better than me. Lan said there. Shang Wifugui is a mixed race and has been living in the Alliance. The Alliance. Fen Lin remembered that this organization was a group of foreigners formed an alliance of tribes. The combat power is very terrifying. However, we have a non-aggression treaty with the country and we have been living in ruins. Lu Yao's mother, Lu Baidan, is said to be one of the decision-makers in the Alliance Senate. Okay. I'll go ask my second master right away. Fen Lin hung up the phone and jumped out of the window. He found Men Changsheng sitting in a wheelchair, holding the chapter on the military situation translated by Fen Lin. Practicing with eyes closed. What's happening? Sensing Fen Lin approaching, Men Changsheng opened his eyes. Fen Lin said in a deep voice. I asked someone to investigate just now. They said that Lao Wu might have been kidnapped by Shang Wifugui. Shang Wifugui? Haha, it's really possible. Men Changsheng couldn't help but laugh when he heard the name. Second Master, are you one of us? Are you smiling so happily? Fen Lin was a little surprised. I once met Shang Wifugui, a terribly strong man. Don't think that because he has a tasteless name, he is a weak person, Men Changsheng explained. He is known as the God of Swords. He is among the first class. Even in the Alliance Senate. His strength is in no way better than me Sword God. Although Fen Lin didn't recognize it, this name didn't sound simple. He loves swords as much as his life. He took Wu Yatu away, probably because of his swordsmanship, Men Changsheng said with a smile. Don't worry, Wu Yatu will be fine. Second Master, since he is so strong, isn't he? Are you fully in Lao Wu? Fen Lin asked in a deep voice. Shang Wifugui is very face-conscious. I feel like he didn't even use ki when he dueled Wu Yatu, Men Changsheng said with a smile. No, I'll go take a look. Fen Lin was still worried. He wanted to see for himself how this person was doing. If he were a good person, he would only agree to let Ki Hu stay there. Okay, the alliance is in Luanzi Mountain in eastern Guangdong, Men Changsheng smiled. I'll give you the detailed address. Fen Lin remembered that the second master lived in eastern Guangdong before. After getting the address, he immediately bought a ticket online and headed to the airport. When we arrived at our destination, it was already 4:30. The name of the county here is Luanzi. To the east, outside the city, there is an endless mountain range. There are not many trees in it, but there are many huge rocks. He arrived at the entrance. Surprisingly, the entrance to the ruins is not located on the top of the mountain, but at the foot of the mountain. There is a huge high-end hotel built against the mountain. The name is Alliance Hotel. After Fen Lin arrived here, he sensed the atmosphere around him. There are many ancient warriors here and their realms are not low. After Fen Lin entered the hotel, he headed to the reception. Hello, do you want to stay in a hotel? The girls at the front desk are all secret teachers. My name is Fen Lin and I am related to Aunt Lupilan. Please let me know, Fen Lin said with a smile. It turns out that you are a relative of Elder Lu. Please come with me. The girl immediately led Fen Lin to the elevator. He had no doubt that if it was fake, he would definitely throw it away. The alliance has been established for so many years, but no one has dared to come to the base camp to cause trouble. The elevator reaches the first floor. The girl led Fen Lin to a steel door, took out her badge, and swiped it at the nearby machine. The door opened. Behind it is a dark cave. I won't give it away, the girl said with a smile. Thank you. Fen Lin walked in. After walking a few dozen meters, he saw a bright light in front of him and couldn't help but speed up a few steps. After entering these ruins, Fen Lin felt as if he was traveling to another world. At first glance, none of them were human. Who are you? From a building not far away, a woman in uniform and black stockings arrived. He's probably about 40 years old. She has shoulder-length hair and her steps are elegant and seductive. The whites of his eyes were black and his dark red eyes looked at Fen Lin intently. The ghost tribe. Fen Lin was surprised, remembering that Lubulin's eyes looked like this before. Hello, I'm Fen Lin, I'm here to see Senior Lubulin. Fen Lin nodded respectfully. Fen Lin. You Liu's fiancé. There was a charming smile on the woman's face. He immediately grabbed Fen Lin's buttocks and said, Brother, your muscles are quite tight. Chapter 668. Are you afraid? Fen Lin got goosebumps and immediately pushed the woman's hand away. Andy, don't do this, I'm really embarrassed. Call me sister, the woman said, pretending to be angry, along with her special eyes. It always gives people a strange feeling. Sister, is Lu Yao here? Fen Lin just wanted to leave quickly and couldn't let the Sant take advantage of him anymore. Lu Yao is a hard-working boy. He has gone out to practice. Wait a minute and I will send a message to our boss. The woman took out her mobile phone and said with a smile, I am guarding the door today. I can't leave. That's fine, thanks. Fen Lin nodded. After a while, a woman wearing black stockings, a uniform suit, and a skirt that covered her hips walked from a distance. This person is Lu Yao's mother, Luburin. She came from afar with a smile, purely because of her pace and figure. It can give people a variety of charms. The head of the house, this is Fen Lin, the woman guarding the door explained with a smile. I know, we saw each other last time. Lu Bian walked over with a smile and took Fen Lin's arm. Fen Lin, are you here specifically to see my daughter? Andy, you're here to see me this time. Sister. Fen Lin explained. I received news that Shangwen Fugler might have kidnapped her. Mr. Shangwen. Lu Buren covered his mouth and smiled, his special eyes narrowed into a line. It gives people a different kind of charm. Speaking of which, Mr. Shangwen brought a young woman over not long ago, Lu Buren explained with a smile. Really? Andy, take me there quickly. Fen Lin said excitedly. I don't like people calling me Aunt. Lu Buren's voice was a little sad. Pa, Mom. Fen Lin called tentatively. After all, Lu Yao is considered his fiancé, so this title makes sense. Lu Bian and the woman next to him looked at each other and both left. Little rascal, you call me that, don't you want to drink milk? Lu Buren smiled so hard that his branches trembled. Damn. Fen Lin thought he was very insensitive, but in front of this person, he always felt like an innocent child. Is there not in your heart what is called decorum, justice and shame? Then let me call you sister first. Fen Lin smiled sarcastically. That's it. Lu Buren smiled and walked forward. Follow me. Fen Lin looked at Lu Buren's back. His steps were filled with temptation, causing a tremor somewhere that could not be described as an elf. I don't know if I walked like that on purpose or if I was born that way. Of the grandmother. He took a deep breath and quickened his pace to follow her. Hello, old man. Elder Lu. Most of the men and women walking around greeted Lu Buren with great respect. Fen Lin also carefully observed that these people either had animal ears and tails, or had pointed ears. The hair is also colorful. Sister, how many races are there in total here? Fen Lin asked from the side with his hands in his trouser pockets. Excluding mixed and rare races, there are 10 races with more than 50 people in total. Lu Buren explained with a smile. The lifestyles of the races are similar to those in the countryside. Yeah. Fen Lin had been speaking just now. From observation, the buildings here are all brick and tile houses in the village. The people gathered were obviously their own race. Is there any secret competition between the races here? Fen Lin asked in a low voice. Haha, my family has conflicts, let alone so many races gathered together. Lu Buren looked at Fen Lin with his dark red eyes, but we got so good relations with other races. It's definitely my sister's leadership. Fen Lin smiled and felt flattered. Chuckle. Lu Bian covered his mouth and laughed, because our ghost tribe, including the half-blood, only has more than 100 people in total, so we never compete with other large races. I see. Fen Lin nodded secretly. Of course, we are also the only race in the alliance that knows the formations. Other major races still need and respect us. Lu Buren was speaking, pointing to the mountain in the distance. That is where Mr. Shangwen. Home. What race is he? Fen Lin asked strangely. He is a hybrid of Gyli and human, but his hybrid is a bit special. Lu Buren smiled. Normal Gyli hybrids are all male Gyli forcing human women. He is different. His father is a human. Oh. Fen Lin sensed the aura in the distance and found someone fighting, so he ran over immediately. He has a strange temper. Be careful what you say. Lu Buren followed him with a smile. Fen Lin arrived at the hillside and saw Jinguji Qihui fighting with an old man with half-white hair. He has the red eyes of the Jili tribe and many scars on his face. It gives people a fierce feeling, making it difficult to speak at first glance. However, the second master really got it right. When he encounters Jinguji, he does not use Qi. With an attack that he cannot resist, he will use Qi to retrieve Hu. Shang with Fugue suddenly looked at Fen Lin and shouted. The Tang knife seemed to cut through the air and in the blink of an eye. The tip of the knife was already pointing at Fen Lin's eyebrows. Old man. Stop. This is my boss. Jinguji Abgada looked here, and when he saw Fen Lin, he immediately ran over. Qihui, are you okay? Fen Lin asked with a smile. Boss. I miss you a lot. This old man took away my space ring and didn't let me send you a message. Jinguji Abgada clung to Fen Lin like a koala. Hello, Mr. Shangwen. At this time, Lu Buren also walked over with a smile. Did you bring it, Elder Lu here? Shang with Fugue looked at Fen Lin. Yes, this is my daughter's fiancé, Fen Lin, Lu Buren explained with a smile. Boss, do you have your fiancé here? Jinguji Abgada jumped from Fen Lin with a jealous expression on his face. It's all my fault, don't blame me, go ahead and scold him, Fen Lin explained awkwardly. So he is your daughter's fiancé? Haha, you dare to come here? Aren't you afraid of death? Shang with Fugue laughed, and with the several scars on his face, he looked even more fierce. Old man, what do you mean? Jinguji Abgada turned around and asked. After listening, Fen Lin also looked puzzled. Senior, I didn't provoke anyone from the alliance. You did it. Originally, the ghosts survived well in the cracks of the major alliance races, but the clan leader gave birth to a daughter. Shang with Fugue looked at Lu Buren indifferently. No matter what young talent from any major race, marrying Liao is equivalent to having a group of ghosts. Fen Lin immediately looked at Lu Buren. She simply said that ghosts are the only race here that can use formations. Obtaining this clan can almost make a certain race ascend to a higher level. But what Elder Lu did was shocking. He didn't choose anyone in the alliance, but decided to let his daughter get married. Fen Lin, you are considered a celebrity in the alliance. Shang with Fugue smiled and looked at Jinguji Qihui. Girl, he is going to die anyway, so you can live here from now on. Lu Bian showed a charming smile. Fen Lin, are you afraid? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 669 Alliance Battle. Fen Lin smiled and said, I'm a shy person, a little scared. Then you have to maintain a good relationship with Mr. Shangwen. No one dares to provoke Mr. Shangwen in this alliance. Lu Buren said with a smile. HNPH. Why should I have a relationship with him? Shang with Fugue snorted coldly. If you don't help me, boss, I will leave immediately. Jinguji Abgada hugged Fen Lin's arm and said. You can't leave. At this kid's level, he may not be able to withstand the blows of those young talents. Shang with Fugue looked at Fen Lin. The aura exuding from his body was at the level of a divine orifice. Nonsense. My boss is much more powerful than me. Jinguji Abgada looked at Shang with Fugue. What? Can hidden abilities be hidden from me? Shang with Fugue grabbed Fen Lin's wrist and raised his eyebrows in surprise. What a boy, how amazing. Lu Bian next to him showed a charming smile. In fact, when they met just now, she was wondering why Fen Lin only hid the divine orifice realm. During the battle in Jilad, he heard Lu Yao say that Fen Lin was powerful. So, as soon as they met, she raised Fen Lin's arm and took the opportunity to grab his wrist. Fen Lin is now in the middle tempering stage. Furthermore, he is also the son of Fen Chen and Hu Yongzhu, and his true combat power is definitely more than that. Mr. Shangwen, I have something to do here. Let's go first. Lu Bian took out his mobile phone and put his arm around Fen Lin's shoulders with a smile. Fen Lin, let's enter contact information. I'll take it. To our village later. Okay. Fen Lin nodded and took out his phone. The two saved their numbers and Lu Bian left. Fen Lin took Jinguji Abgadu's hand and asked in a low voice, how is this old? He didn't bully you, did he? No, he wanted to accept me as his apprentice, but I haven't accepted yet. Jinguji Temple Qihui whispered. HNPH. Anyone who wants to be my disciple can drown you with just a spit. Don't ignore your blessings. Shang with Fugue naturally heard the conversation between the two and said from a distance. What do you think? Fen Lin asked. It is indeed very powerful. Jinguji Qihui glanced at Shang with Fugue secretly. Our second master knows him. Let me ask him what he thinks of this person. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone and called Men Changshen. Does your second master know me? Who is he? Shang Wifugui asked with a frown. My second master's name is Men Changshen, Fen Lin replied. That. Shang Wifuguy's pupil suddenly shrank, and he immediately reached out and snatched the phone. Boy, have you found it? Men Changshen asked there. Lao Meng, aren't you dead yet? Shang Wifugui smiled excitedly. Fugui, it seems that my girl is in your hands, Men Changshen said with a smile. Why do I say she is so powerful? It turns out that you taught her. Shang Wifugui looked at Moji Akahui. Men Changshen said. It's just some advice, but Fen Lin next to you can be considered my half-apprentice. Oh really? Shang Wifugui couldn't help but laugh. Old Meng, I want to accept this girl as my apprentice. Within 5 years, I will definitely defeat your apprentice. Alright. Then let's compare. Men Changshen laughed a few times. Here. Shang Wifugui threw the phone to Fen Lin. Did you hear our conversation? Fen Lin nodded, but still asked, Second Master, did you? Can you give him Kihui? Of course. My fighting method is similar to yours. It's a sneak attack. My guide for 5 girls has limitations. Men Changshen paused and said, he is definitely better than me at using weapons. It's not just the use of weapons. Shang Wifugui remembered there. Okay. With the words of the second master, I feel relieved. Fen Lin put away the phone with a smile and handed it to Shang Wifugui. Senior, don't blame me, Kihui is my sister. She's my wife. Jinguji Akahu stamped his foot. Fen Lin scratched his head in embarrassment. Yes, she is my wife, that's why I confirmed it to the second master. It's okay, since you are her apprentice, come, let's practice. Shang Wifugui smiled and raised a tang. Dao, if you can meet me, even if you win, as long as you can beat me, if you encounter difficulties in the alliance, I will help you. Senior, don't joke. How can I meet you? In my state. Fen Lin smiled and shook his head. He shakes his head. A man as arrogant as Lao Men would accept a disciple with your personality. Shang Wifugui smiled and said, don't worry, I will bring my realm to the initial stage of tempering. Okay, I'm sorry. Fen Lin's voice as soon as he landed, a black shadow flew out of him. Shang Wifugui stared and quickly moved to the side. Broken. There was a crisp sound and a hand appeared on Shang Wifugui shoulder. Fen Lin was behind him now. He looked at the tip of the knife looking back and it was obvious that the other party noticed it too. But Fen Lin was faster and found it first. Good boy. Amazing. Shang Wifugui turned around in shock. Senior's even more powerful, you obviously noticed me. Fen Lin pointed to the tip of the knife while looking back. That's because I am weak in victory. Although my realm is suppressed, my perception is still there. If I were really in the early stage of temperament, I would never be able to detect it. Shang Wifugui nodded slightly. You can do it, you are worthy of my apprentice. I haven't become a disciple yet. Jinguji Akahu said from a distance. Kihui, you heard what the second master said. Since you can become stronger here, work hard, Fen Lin said with a smile. Okay. Jinguji Akahu agreed. Are you Fen Lin? At this moment, several figures appeared in the distance, led by a young man, walking towards here. Girl, let's go far away to train. Shang Wifugui grabbed Jinguji Kihui's arm and disappeared here. In the entire league, there are only 2 young talents who can match Fen Lin. The battle for the alliance is between the 2 major races behind them. As for these native chickens and dogs, Fen Lin can solve it, you don't need to act yourself. Fen Lin stared at this young man, who was an orc. He has cocky hair and a western face shape. There is a pair of animal ears on the top of his head and a tuft of hair at the end of his tail behind him. Like a lion's tail. Yes, I'm Fen Lin. Fen Lin put his hands in his pants pockets and nodded with a smile. Is Liu Yao your fiancé? Shi Pen crossed his arms and looked at Fen Lin with disdain. Fen Lin agreed, that's right. Who do you think you are? Shi Pen sneered disdainfully, a mere human dares to marry a ghost. How many kidneys do you have? So, you have more than me. Fen Lin asked with a smile. Boy, don't be ignorant. I'm doing this for your own good. You're not good enough for Liu Yao. It's too late to come out now. Shi Pen's face became colder. Otherwise you might crawl. Fen Lin squinted and looked carefully. Sensing the surroundings, I found that there were many eyes, all watching from a distance. Perhaps they were all waiting to laugh at him. Fen Lin smiled and shrugged his shoulders and said, it's your turn to say whether I'm worthy or not. Ghosts worship the strong, today I will beat you to death. Shi Pen stepped on one foot and jumped. Towards Fen Lin he attacked. Haha, you're a young man full of energy. On the top of the mountain in the distance, Lu Buren smiled and the branches trembled. Won't you help? Shi Pen has broken through the realm, a woman's voice came from behind Lu Bian. Chapter 670. The bones are too hard to kneel. Lu Bian looked back and saw a careless woman holding a lady's cigarette in her mouth. He had very messy hair and was wearing a black casual suit. He is around 30 years old. The surprising thing is that his left eye is the only eye of a ghost. The right eye is the same as the normal human eye. Mommy, your door is open. Lu Bian looked at the woman's pants and said with a smile. I know, I did it on purpose. Today I wore blue and white striped pants and I wanted to show them off. Han Mei looked at Fen Lin in the distance and took a deep breath on the cigarette. Are you sure you want to play so big? Lu Buren his eyes curved into crescents and smiled. Actually, I am also a young man full of energy. In the distance, Shi Pen's body was surrounded by Qi and he suddenly attacked Fen Lin. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and turned sideways slightly to avoid the opponent's attack. Brush. Shi Pen stepped on the ground with one foot and the earth sank deeply. His body spun quickly, preparing to continue attacking Fen Lin. But his eyes suddenly opened. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and one leg was already in front of him. Boom. The whip fell on Shi Pen's face. Shi Pen's body flew out uncontrollably and hit the hillside in the distance, never getting back up. Several people watching from a distance opened their mouths in shock. What is the situation? This Fen Lin was clearly at the Divine Aperture realm, but he actually kicked Shi Pen, who had broken through the realm, in one fell swoop. This is another type of fiction that Fen Lin learned from the military situation chapter. As long as you use this method, even if the power you explode is the realm of penetration, or even the realm of tempering. In the eyes of outsiders, the key fluctuations are still divine. It is completely elusive. It's not just the few people looking here. Even the experts watching from the hillside in the distance were shocked. What's going on? His status is obviously in the middle stage of divine acuity, but his speed right now is definitely more than that. Han Mei held a cigarette and frowned. Who knows? Lu Buren on the side shrugged with a smile. On the other side of the slope, there was a blond man, his eyes gradually narrowing. He has a pair of pointed ears and looks like an elf. This guy is interesting, he smiled, looked at the middle-aged man next to him, and said with a smile, Notify the Lion Clan. Yeah. The middle-aged man nodded and left. Among the young talents in the alliance, Shi Pen's penetration level is already in the upper echelon. Therefore, the eyes of those people who originally disdained Fen Lin changed when they looked at Fen Lin. Just by relying on his movement, he could at least conclude that Fen Lin was no ordinary person. Fen Lin, are you okay? At this moment, a woman wearing denim shorts jumped out from a distance. Fen Lin looked at the cat ears on his head and the tail on his back. He had seen this person before when he was in the Nine Nethers. I remember his name was Zook. Is that you? Fen Lin asked with a smile. I advise you to leave now or go to the ghost village as soon as possible. The Lion Clan always protects its flaws. Zook put his hands on his hips, and the black tail on his back swayed slightly. I don't know the way, can you take me there? Fen Lin asked with a smile. He came here mainly to ensure Kihua's safety. Now that he knew that she was fine, Fen Lin was ready to retreat. Follow me. Zook turned his head and jumped to the hillside in the distance. Fen Lin followed her, preparing to say goodbye to Lu Buren. Fen Lin had no interest in the internal disputes within the alliance. After climbing 2 hills, Zook pointed to the village not far away. It seemed like there were only 30 or 40 homes. That's it. I won't go there. You're a troublesome person and I don't want to get too involved with you. After Zook finished speaking, he left here. Fen Lin scratched his head. It was all his father's fault. He was obviously a very discreet person. He found so many fiancés that he couldn't keep a low profile. Fen Lin quickened his pace, preparing to say goodbye to Lu Buren and leave this place of good and evil. At present, it has something more important, which is to solve real human beings. Hello, I'm Fen Lin, I'm here to see Senior Lu. Fen Lin saw a ghostly man from a distance and walked over with a smile. This man has a mustache and looks exactly like a normal person except for his special eyes. You Liu's fianc? The man asked in shock. Not bad. Fen Lin nodded slightly. Haha. My name is Liu Pu, you can call me Uncle Liu. Liu Pu looked at Fen Lin carefully and nodded secretly. It looks good, how is the function? The function, Fen Lin said awkwardly. Okay. Yes. Okay or not, Liu Pu was about to speak. Looking at the woman walking in the distance, he immediately smiled and said, Uncle Liu is something to do, so I'll go. First, Fen Lin looked at him. He looked like he was running away and couldn't help but turn around. I found Han Mimi walking in his direction. Sister, you didn't zip up your zipper, Fen Lin kindly reminded her. I know, I did it on purpose. Han Mimi threw the cigarette butt in her hand on the ground, smiled and approached Fen Lin. My name is Han Mimi, I am Lia's sister. Hello sister, your eyes. Fen Lin, it was discovered that Han Mimi only had one ghost-shaped eye. I am a hybrid of the human race. Han Mimi smiled and grabbed Fen Lin's neck, showing a sickly smile. I heard that you have other women. That's right. Fen Lin answered this matter very solemnly. If his clan does not agree, Fen Lin will respect his opinions. Can you promise to have sex with Lu Yao once every 3 days in the future? Do it until you are 60 years old. Han Mimi smiled and said, if you can, I have no objection to you having other women. Before answering his question, I should resolve the immediate matter first. Fen Lin looked behind Han Mimi. A group of people appeared in the distance. Most people followed behind to watch the fun. The leader is a middle-aged man who has reached the peak of his early temperament. He has a robust appearance and a very strong constitution. A person behind him was holding Shi Peng, who had been beaten by Fen Lin earlier. Shi Peng now still has bloodstains on his face. Uncle, this is Fen Lin. Shi Peng pointed at Fen Lin, his eyes full of hatred. Fen Lin, right. Come here and kneel to apologize to my nephew. Shi Gang looked at Fen Lin with a gloomy face. Otherwise, you will be responsible for the consequences. Sister, should you help me with this? Time. Fen Lin looked at Han Mimi with a smile. You're thinking too much. The Lion clan has more than 300 people in the alliance, and there are Dakan kingdoms behind them. I can't afford to offend them. Han Mimi smiled and took a few steps back. The corners of Shi Gang's mouth raised slightly. Fen Lin, I'll give you 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, you will fall. When the people watching from a distance saw this scene, they began to talk. Do you think this Fen Lin will kneel? He must kneel. Shigan is a state of temperament. It's different. The ghost respects the strong and being hit is a trivial matter. If he kneels directly, he will never marry Lu Yao. Shi Gang sneered. 5 seconds have passed. It seems like you want me to play hard. No way, my bones are too hard to kneel. Fen Lin spread his hands with a smile. Chapter 671. Bad brother, okay. After hearing Fen Lin's answer, not only Han Mimi but also some of the onlookers secretly nodded. You may not have the strength, but you must at least have guts. Not only ghosts, but other races as well. But the ghost values more than men. Han Mimi lit a lady's cigarette and watched from a short distance. According to Fen Lin's words, if he is in danger, he will rescue him. Hearing this, Shi Gang rushed towards Fen Lin in the blink of an eye with a sneer. There are many tough people. But usually, it's just talk. He didn't believe that he had beaten this Fen Lin almost to death, and he still dared to say that. Call. Tempered round key was covered in his palms. He waved vigorously and 5 cocky claw marks struck Fen Lin. Han Mimi's feet already moved. Unexpectedly, Shigan's departure was a single move and was done with full force. Mercilessly. After Shi Gang's punch, it revealed a cruel arc. This move fell on Fen Lin. If I didn't believe it, I wouldn't beg for mercy. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and watched the attack with a half smile. Just as it was about to fall on Fen Lin, a dagger-sized dark red sword crossed horizontally in front of Fen Lin. Brush. In an instant, the claw mark attack was defeated. Han Mimi, who had taken a step to rescue Fen Lin, immediately stopped. She was surprised. What is happening? From the beginning to the end, the fluctuations emanating from Fen Lin's body remained in the realm of divine orifices. But even in this realm, the techniques used to temper the realm were dispersed in one fell swoop. Impossible. Shi Gang's pupils narrowed to needle points. A divine orifice state actually shattered his secret knowledge. All the people watching behind him looked at Fen Lin in shock. Because something happened before their eyes that they could not understand. Everyone knows the hidden abilities. Height your breathing to a certain level. But if a battle breaks out in the hidden realm cannot cope with it, the key in the body will definitely explode. However, the Fen Lin in front of him has always been in the divine realm. It's my turn. Fen Lin raised a hand and waved the sword floating in front of him. Shout. The dark red small sword seemed to penetrate the air, making a harsh sound. In the blink of an eye, I arrived in front of Shigan. Shi Gang was shocked and immediately put his hands in front of him. Boom. The energy in his body formed a thick shield. However, this small sword completely ignored this shield and pierced through it instantly without any pause, penetrating his left hand. Buzz. Finally, it stopped precisely in front of his left eyeball. Shi Gang's pupils trembled. He was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat, and his body involuntarily retreated. Sitting on the floor with a plop. Fear made him forget the pain in his palms. How was that possible? Shi Gang's body was trembling. He was in the temper realm. Facing the divine orifice realm, he died instantly. Han Miami, who was behind Fen Lin, was also dumbfounded. It would be understandable if divine aperture defeated penetration. But defeating tempering is completely impossible. She was sure that Fen Lin's realm was definitely more than this. But what method did Fen Lin use? Even in battle, will the energy emitted within the divine orifice realm be controlled? This trick can cause masters to misjudge and fail to distinguish between a feint attack and a main attack. Its effect in battle is even stronger than that of Kung Fu. Fen Lin snapped his fingers and the small sword fixed in the air turned into ki and dissipated. He gently smoothed his hair and showed a slight smile. It seems that you are not qualified to deal with me. Dominant. The people watching from a distance felt awe in their hearts. To deal with the realm of tempering, he waved the small sword with a single finger. The other hand was in his pants pocket and didn't even come out. How safe is this? Awesome. Shigen is the pinnacle of the early tempering stage. If you want to defeat him, you must at least be at the middle tempering stage. If it is the middle stage of tempering, the only young talents in our alliance will be those two people. The spectators watched from a distance. People talked a lot. Dude. Are you okay? Shi Pen was so scared that he couldn't beat him. The tempering process took a second, but this penetration of his was a big deal. Okay, let's go. Shi Gang looked at Fen Lin, got up and left. Fen Lin had been merciful just now. Otherwise, his life could have been decided here. Those watching the excitement also dispersed. I think it won't be long before this news spreads throughout the league. Liu Yao's fiancé is not an ordinary person. Smelly brother, okay. Han Mimi walked over with a smile. Don't marry Liu Yao, my sister doesn't have a man yet, marry me. You're thinking too much. At this moment, Lu Buren was standing in the distance and walked over with a charming smile. Andy, sister, I'm about to find you, Fen Lin said with a smile. I came here mainly to make sure my sister is safe. Now that I know, I'm ready to go back. It's already getting dark. Today stay here tonight and sleep at my house. My bed is big. Lu Bian winked at Fen Lin. Sister, I am an honest person. Don't make fun of me. I will take it seriously. Fen Lin smiled and nodded. I'm going back. Contact me often. Lu Bian shook his phone. Fen Lin waved his hand and left. Looking at Fen Lin's back, Lu Bian suppressed his smile and said, Mimi, is my taste okay? My taste is okay, but it's okay. Han Mimi took out a cigarette from her body. Fen Lin left the hotel and stood alone on the street. Ever since he defeated Shi Gang, he had the illusion of someone had been secretly watching him. He doesn't like this feeling. Oh, you have to learn to enjoy solitude, Fen Lin sighed softly. The night of death he had established at the beginning. Liu Nian didn't know where he was and Sakam Jin followed the Anyang Crusaders. Agada Jinguji also has his own teacher. Liu is dead. Lao Qianbai once sent a message to Fen Lin, telling him that something was happening at home and he couldn't go out recently. Looking at him this way, the second master is still kind to him. Always stay close. That's right. Fen Lin's eyes suddenly lit up. Now that the internet is so developed, people can chat with each other even if they are in different places. So Fen Lin sat on a roadside bench and prepared to create a web chat group to attract all these people. Brother, give me a hand. At this moment, a young man in a suit, smoking a cigarette, was sitting slumped next to Fen Lin. I don't smoke, Fen Lin said calmly. Heptars heptars. The young man in a suit smiled at Fen Lin. What a man. Just because someone doesn't smoke doesn't mean he's a good man, and someone who smokes doesn't mean he's a bad person. Fen Lin said slowly. After all, his father and his second wife were an old smoker. That's right. The young man crumpled the cigarette in his mouth and looked at the sky with empty eyes. What's wrong with you? Are you stuck in love? Fen Lin asked curiously. It's true, the young man sighed. I was in prison for a woman. Hasn't it only been 5 years since I got out? When I saw that woman having sex with a big guy, I felt like I wanted to kill someone. Chapter 672. A chat group. You don't want to take revenge on society, and are you going to kill me? Fen Lin looked at the young man. You're thinking too much. We have no complaints. I just want to kill that woman. Kujian rubbed his face hard. What did you agree to enter? Fen Lin asked. I was only 20 years old and still a college student. What could I have done? Kujian shook his head gently. I was just passionate and went to jail for that woman. Silly. Fen Lin shook his head. with a smile. I couldn't help it. I had no idea at the time. She said to wait for me outside and I was really touched. Kujian smiled bitterly, got up and said, "Let's go, I'm going shopping." A lighter. Fenlin also stopped. "Take a taxi and be prepared to stay in other hotels. I always feel uncomfortable staying at a hotel in this alliance." Completely concealing his aura, Fenlin arrived at a small hotel a few streets away. After opening the random room, Fenlin entered and lay down. I was about to create a group when an unknown number called. "Hello," Fenlin answered the phone. "It's me," came a cold voice. "Sister Jinheng, don't use our human things?" Fenlin asked with a smile. "I have to say that some things in the human race are quite convenient to use. Write down my mobile phone number and WeChat account with the same number." After Kai Jinheng finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Fenlin saved Kai Jinheng's number and added his WeChat ID. I found out that her name on WeChat was Empress. The photo shows her from behind, wearing armor and with her long silver hair hanging to the ground. This photo is quite artistic. Fenlin shook his head with a smile and added the other person's friend. Fenlin continues to form a group here, and the name of the group is Love and Love Family. Fenlin then ordered the second masters, Zuoying, Zhao King, Sikong Jin, Shanggong Saiku Hui, and Yan Yuibai. Everyone is invited to enter. It would be great if I could contact Lao Si here. As for the others, I plan to add them later. After all, these people in the group are the most important in Fenlin's mind. Suddenly, Fenlin thought of Kai Jinheng, who had just been added. He also added Kai Jinheng. She was going to let her and the second master have a few words. It can also alleviate the hatred between them. But Fenlin made a stupid mistake, that is, Zuoying was also in the group. What is this? Kai Jinheng was the first to write a series of words. Lin Feng had just taught her how to use them and she only knew a few simple things. "Boss. Isn't this your harem?" Yan Yuibai asked from below. "Damn it. Don't talk nonsense. The second master and the fourth son are still here," Fenlin responded immediately. "Second master usually doesn't play with mobile phones. Fourth brother usually doesn't talk. He should be transparent in the group," Yan Yuibai replied next. At this time, Zuoying spoke, and the key was that she herself changed a note. The name is Fenlin's first wife. "Hello everyone." Zuoying followed him. "Give me this group leader." "Fenlin, you're so shameless. How dare you drag me here? In the population." Kai Jinheng directly said a series of voices, his voice was cold and biting. Before Fenlin could say anything, Zuoying's voice also came. "Who the hell are you? How dare you talk to my man like that?" When Fenlin saw this, he thought something was wrong. He obviously asked the second master and Kai Jinheng to resolve the conflict. Unexpectedly, it created a contradiction. "And you're looking for death? Fenlin is my pet, why can't I talk like this?" Kai Jinheng responded immediately. "Zuoying is not a fuel-saving lamp, are you mentally ill? Are you still a pet? Use Empress as a name and really think you are the emperor? Fool. You dare to scold me. Fenlin. Where is this woman now? Tell me. I'm going to kill her." Kai Jinheng was furious, his voice trembling with anger. Who dares to talk to themselves like that when they're so old? Are you still going to kill me? Come here. Keyboard warrior. I will beat you up if you dare, Zuoying said coldly. Yan Yuibai then posted an emoji eating melon. Fenlin immediately blocked the group. In this situation, the most direct way is not to look. I was too embarrassed to kick them out. It would be nice if they retired on their own later. Suddenly, Fenlin immediately sat up and two people appeared in the hall. One of them is in the dark realm and the other is an ordinary person. Ha ha ha. Brother Liu, you hate it. You don't take people to a big hotel, but you come to a place like this, came a woman's voice from the other side. Hey, small places have feelings, a man's laugh was also heard. Then the woman smiled coquettishly. I hate him. Fenlin shook her head slightly, perhaps because her hearing became stronger as her strength increased. Just as he was going to bed, another person passed by in the hallway. Damn it. Open the door for me. Boom. Boom. After a few sounds, the door of the other party's room seemingly burst open. This voice, could it be him? Fenlin remembered the man he met before and immediately walked out. After opening the door, he found that not only him, but also that tenants of other rooms were coming out. They gathered around his room. Fenlin also walked over and saw Kujian, whom he had met earlier at the bank. He held two kitchen knives in his hands and glared fiercely at the men and women in the room. The man is a middle-aged older man. The woman looked to be in her 20s, and with some makeup, her appearance was not bad. It's you. Kujian. Why are you out? The woman dressed hurriedly. Why did I get out? Do you think I was sentenced to 7 years and now I can't get out? Kujian raised a kitchen knife and shouted at the woman, that's because I behaved there. Boy, who the hell is that? Can you hold a kitchen knife? This middle-aged older man looked at Kujian coldly. Fen Lin immediately walked over and grabbed Kujian's shoulders from behind. Brother, forget it. Although this woman is immoral, it is not okay for you to kill her. Kujian. Is something the matter? I'm with my man. What does it have to do with you? The woman pointed at Kujian and shouted, you're the only one who still wants to date me. How much money do you have? Kujian was so angry that he almost threw my blood. What's more, you have been in jail and you definitely won't be able to find a good job in the future. Do you really think I'm stupid and will accompany you through a lifetime of hardships? The woman crossed her arms and said disdainfully. Enough. Fen Lin shouted coldly. Who do you think you are? I guess you and him are prisoners, right? The woman pointed at Fen Lin and sneered at him again. At this moment, the middle-aged man in front of him took out his mobile phone, and after seeing the number, he immediately said flutteringly, Hello, Mr. Liu Pu. Okay, I'll be there right away. Liu Pu. Fen Lin suddenly remembered. The mustache I saw today on the phantom, could that person be related with this middle-aged man? Things seem to be getting interesting. Chapter 673 The Mysterious Dark Crow. The middle-aged man hung up the phone and walked out immediately. Brother Liu, where are you going? The woman behind him hurriedly grabbed him. I'm in a hurry. The middle-aged man took the woman's hand away and left quickly. When Kujian saw this man leaving like this, his angry heart calmed down. He threw the kitchen knife on the ground and smiled at Fen Lin. Brother, it seems that we are quite destined indeed. We are destined. Fen Lin nodded slightly. If I hadn't found this place, I wouldn't have done it. I have noticed it. This way. Kujian, now that you're out, you should be a good person. Brother Liu, don't want to argue with you. Believe it or not, he asked a group of people to destroy you. He pursed his lips in disdain, picked up the bag, and showed no mercy. Kujian clenched his fists, lowered his head and said nothing. I have something to do. I have to go first. Let me give you a suggestion. Fen Lin patted Kujian on the shoulder. Don't say 5 years, even 10 years of injustice can be vindicated. Brother, what do you mean? Kujian suddenly looked at Fen Lin excitedly. The woman who had arrived at the door was frightened and stopped again. Yes, as long as you have proof, you can send this woman to jail. Fen Lin pointed to the back of the door and said with a smile. I'm really confused. Thank you for your advice. Kujian nodded enthusiastically. The woman at the door was stunned and he immediately turned around and said to Kujian. Kujian, I advise you not to do anything randomly. You come to kill people with a kitchen knife. If you try to kill someone, I can do it. Call the police. It's okay, I'm here anyway. Once you get used to it, it won't matter if you stay here for a few more years. Kujian looked indifferent and was prepared to leave. Kujian. Don't go. Your life is over. You can't drag me into the water. The woman turned pale with fear and grabbed Kujian's arm from behind. Kujian has already been in prison. It won't matter if he stays in prison for a few more years. Now he is still a blank slate and is 27 or 80 years old. A woman is only a few years young. When she comes out, who will fall in love with her? Fen Lin had already left the hotel, not wanting to enjoy the farce between them. Compared to those trivial matters, Fen Lin was more interested in Liu Pu with the ghost clan. Looking at the Mercedes-Benz in the distance, Fen Lin quickly followed. The car did not go to Yuning, but to a small hotel a few streets away. He parked the car in the parking lot, got out immediately and walked to the hotel. Fen Lin put on the human skin mask that Lassie gave him in the corner, took a black coat and put it on. As he approached the hotel, Fen Lin had already sensed the state of the middle stage divine acupoint. I remember Liu Pu was in this kingdom before in the Alliance. Fen Lin took advantage of the darkness and arrived at the back of the hotel. Feeling the breath, he stepped into the air conditioning outside. Jumping from floor to floor, we finally reached the top floor of the hotel. The window curtains were closed, so Fen Lin couldn't see inside. I can only lean against the wall and listen to the sounds inside. The real humans in China have been completely eradicated, came a voice from inside. I just found out about this, came another person's voice. Fen Lin was a little surprised. The person speaking behind must be Liu Pu. But the first person who spoke seemed familiar, but he couldn't remember them at the time. Duh. At this moment, Fen Lin heard the sound of a can opening. Beer. Jiangsu. Fen Lin was surprised. In the room, Jiangsu sat on the sofa and took a sip of beer. In front of him was Liu Pu. While they were talking, someone knocked on the door. "Come in." Liu Pu looked at the door. The door opened and the middle-aged man from before walked in with his head bowed. "Mr. Liu Pu." He closed the door and stood at the door cautiously. "Sir, this is Liu Zi, the transporter I promoted. Until now, he has never given me any trouble," Liu Pu said with a smile. "Okay." Jiangsu nodded slightly, took out a black box, and said with a smile, "Send this. When you come back, you will be richly rewarded." "Thank my lord." Liu Zi took a few steps forward, holding the black box in his arms. "You can go, let's go now," Jiangsu said with a smile. "Yes." Liu Zi turned and left. "Sir, what is going on with the alliance?" Liu Pu suddenly asked. "Don't worry, all we have to do now is wait." Jiangsu walked to the window. Fen Lin immediately jumped down from a high place and disappeared here. He stood in front of the hotel door, waited for a moment, and Liu Zi from before quickly got into the car and left here. Fen Lin has been following the car. Upon reaching the suburbs, a shadow suddenly emerged from his body. Brush. The shadow passed through the iron sheet of the car and fell on the passenger seat. Buzz. Fen Lin's figure appeared here. Shit. A person suddenly appeared. Liu Zi was so scared that he immediately hit the brakes. The car finally stopped on the side of the road. Fen Lin asked calmly, "Hand over the things." "Who are you?" Liu Zi asked tremblingly. "I was really scared." His car windows were obviously closed. "How did this person get in? Do you think you are qualified to ask me questions?" Fen Lin's tone suddenly became cold. Suddenly, Liu Zi felt unable to breathe and a large hand seemed to pinch his neck. "Spare your life, spare your life. The things are in the storage compartment." Liu Zi covered his neck with his hands, his face full of blood. Only then did Fen Lin stop the key oppression, open the storage compartment next to him, and find a black box. Tinsel formation. Fen Lin stared at the lines carefully. It seemed to be a good thing. "Where are you going?" I'm going to deliver something to. I'm a good person. As long as you tell me, I will definitely let you go." Fen Lin looked at the other party's fearful look and said with a smile. "I said, I want to send him to the Dark Crow sect. This organization is in Jiangnan." Liu Zi said immediately. "Dark Crow? Do you know Jin Isai?" Fen Lin asked with a frown. "I know, Jin Isai is the young master of Dark Crow and the daughter of the leader." Liu Zi nodded. "Looking at you, you should deliver goods to them frequently, right? What are you delivering to them?" Fen Lin asked with a smile. Liu Zi explained. "I really don't know anything about this. Every time they deliver goods, they use this box. I can't open it." "What is your relationship with Liu Pu?" Fen Lin asked again. "Mr. Liu Pu is my boss. He made me become an ancient warrior. He is very mysterious and I don't know anything about him. You can go." Fen Lin opened the car door after saying that. "It's true that Dad found a bad woman as his fiancée. It's getting late." Fen Lin didn't return to the hotel, but walked around the road and set up a tent in a small forest in the distance. After lying down, Fen Lin first looked at his phone and found that there were more than hundreds of messages in the WeChat group. He scrolled up for a long time before arriving to the previous position and found that this big list was all the voices of Zhu Roi and Kai Jinghan. There was only one sentence from Zhao King in the middle. "Sisters, please stop arguing," but obviously, neither of them cared. "Forget it, let's see. First, what's here? It must be very important." Fen Lin took out the black box. "P.S. Brothers, I caught a cold and diarrhea, ran to the bathroom more than 10 times and felt exhausted, finally finished a chapter and went to take a nap. There will be 2 more chapters left." Chapter 674 Meeting with the Holy See. Fen Lin has now found the technique to break the Tinsel formation. Everything remains the same and the keys to unlock the heavenly lock formation are all different. But as long as the nature of the lock remains unchanged, Fen Lin can break it. Click. The formation on the box dissipated and Fen Lin opened the box. Inside there was only a ring. Using a space ring to transport things generally won't cause any problems. Fen Lin held the ring in his hand. Under normal circumstances, even Fen Lin, who likes to pick up rags, would not think that a person like a Jin would have such a treasure on his body. He took out everything that was in the ring. I discovered that they were all documents and manuscripts. Fen Lin flipped through a few pages at random, and from the formulas above it can be seen that they are about medicine. Human testing data. Fen Lin's eyes became colder. It seemed to be data from real humans. This is a kind of evil wealth for medicine. However, why did Jiangsu give this data to Dark Crow? Are they in the same group? Let's talk to the old man tomorrow. Fen Lin packed up all these things and lay down to rest. Early the next morning, Fen Lin got up early, put away the tent, and put the space ring in it. Stretch, breathe fresh air, and prepared to return. I took out my phone, took a look, and found that the group I created already had more than 1,000 voices. It lasted from last night until 3 in the morning. Among them, Ajin Guji also joined the voice army. Fen Lin could roughly guess what they were talking about without listening. Suddenly, when Fen Lin was flipping through the records, he discovered that the second master also made a voice message. It clicked immediately. Did the Empress's second master notice? Damn. This young man is so angry. When Fen Lin heard this, he rolled his eyes. It seemed like he was thinking too much. After buying the ticket, Fen Lin fell asleep for a while on the way. When I woke up, I had returned to Yan City and Jiabai. He left the airport and walked to Fengshan instead of taking a taxi. On the way, he called out to Ji Guangling. Boy, I'm about to find you. People from the Holy See will come to our house today for a meeting to discuss how to deal with the real humans and dark cults in Europe. Are you coming? Ji Guangling said there so soon. While answering the phone and okay, I also have important things here about Jiangsu, Fen Lin told Ji Guangling roughly what happened yesterday. What? In other words, have you obtained the information now? Ji Guangling asked in a deep voice. Fen Lin agreed. Yes, it is in my hands. I will hand it over to you this time. No, our meeting place is in Jiangnan. Zhao Zhen will be there then, leave it to him. Ji Guangling said. Well, by the way, the Dark Crow's address is also in Jiangnan. Send me its location too. Fen Lin planned to go and take a look in person after the meeting. Okay, after Ji Guangling finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Fen Lin also accelerated and rushed towards Fengshan. Returned to the ruins. I found out that Zhu Ruang hadn't returned yet. I didn't expect her to be able to talk so much during a mission. Ha ha ha. The group you created is really interesting. I heard their voices until early morning. As soon as Fen Lin entered, Men Changshen laughed from a distance. Fen Lin scratched his head in embarrassment. I brought Kai Jinyang mainly because I wanted the second master to clear up some misunderstandings with her. I didn't expect this to happen. It's unnecessary. We're all adults. We win. Don't do it for that reason. A few words can change your character. Men Changshen smiled and shook his head. Anyway, I have already joined the group. If it's okay, the second master will also chat with her. It will always be effective. Fen Lin smiled and spread his hands. Okay, Men Changshen nodded. By the way, where is the fifth girl staying? Well, having a famous expert to guide you can avoid detours. Fen Lin nodded. It's a chance, Men Changshen smiled. Fen Lin returned to the villa and found Zhao King sitting on the sofa in the villa, looking at his laptop. Recently, Zhu Ruang has become less and less involved in the company's affairs. Almost all of them are controlled by Zhao King. Before she knew it, this girl was able to take care of herself. Fen Lin, are you back? Zhao King saw Fen Lin coming and asked with a smile, have you eaten? No, I'll drink some milk later. Fen Lin walked next to Zhao King and put his arms up on his shoulders. King, have you been very harsh recently? No, I am very satisfied with my current life. Zhao King showed a kind smile. The only flaw is that I can't help you with homework. Your talent is not bad and you will improve with time. Fen Lin gave Zhao King a kiss on the cheek. Zhao King's pretty face suddenly turned red and she lowered her head shyly. Fen Lin, I'm still busy. Then I won't bother you. Fen Lin got up with a smile and found something to eat. In the refrigerator leave the remains. Driving my own Wuling Huangwen, I headed to Changship, south of the Yangtze River. This is the city where the people of the Holy See meet. After about 3 hours of travel, Fen Lin arrived at his destination. As for the country, a 5-star hotel has been booked here. Fen Lin's car was about to enter when he was stopped by several security guards. One of the middle-aged men with a walkie-talkie tapped on Fen Lin's car window and said, Hello, the state staff has reserved this place to receive foreign guests. No one is allowed in these days. Brother, I am also a member of the state. People in this area, Fen Lin said with a smile. I'm not joking with you. Now I have every reason to believe that you are a gangster and arrest you. The middle-aged man's eyes turned cold. This is your duty. I won't embarrass you. Fen Lin smiled, took out his phone, and sent a message to Zhen Wanwen. After a while, Zhen Wanwen, dressed in a suit, left the hotel with a smile. Let him in, one of us, Zhen Wanwen shouted at the security guard from a distance. The security guard looked back and found that Mr. Zhen came out to greet him in person and turned pale with fright. This morning he was able to see with his own eyes that the top leaders of his city had great respect for this gentleman. His identity can be imagined. "Yes, I'm sorry, please come in." The security guard was so scared that he immediately took a few steps back. "As I just said, this is your responsibility." Lin parked the car in the parking lot outside the hotel. "Hurry up and get ready. They have already gone to pick up the plane. They should be here soon," Zen11 said with a smile. "How can I be prepared?" "Just wear a mask." Lin smiled and walked towards the hotel with Zen11. "You arrived just in time." Zen11 stopped as soon as he entered the hotel door. Lin immediately put on the Death Doctor mask and followed Zen11. After a while, several Rolls-Royces stopped in the distance. The security guards got out of the car first, blocking the view of everyone around them. Finally, 3 people got out of the first Rolls-Royce. The leader was an old white man wearing a red robe. To his left is Poseidon in a red suit. On the right is a woman in a red dress with a mask on her face and a golden cross. This person is none other than Athena of the Holy See. "Damn, this bitch is here again," Lin cursed secretly. Chapter 675 Sinister Intentions. "Follow me." Zen11 looked at Lin with a smile. Lin nodded slightly. Looking at the white old man walking in the distance, Zen11 greeted him with a smile. "Mr. Saro, welcome." "Hello, Mr. Zen." The white old man shook hands with Zen11 and then extended his hand to him. His heart and said, "I wish that God would be with you. Please." Zen11 moved out of the way. "Please." Saro nodded slightly. He turned to look at the 2 people behind him. "Wait here a moment. I'll chat with Mr. Zen for a while." "Excuse me." Zen11 looked at Lin and then spoke to Saro, who walked together towards the depths of the hotel. Poseidon walked towards Lin with a smile and greeted him in not very standard Chinese. "Mr. Doctor of Death, we haven't seen each other for a long time. It's been ages since I last saw you." Lin nodded with a smile. "HNPH." Athena snorted softly on the side. "You saved my life when we were in the island country at the beginning. I will always remember this kindness," Poseidon said with a smile. "But some people don't remember, they only know how to repay kindness with hate," Lin said in a sinister tone, not forgetting to look at Athena as he spoke. "You," Athena suddenly pointed at Lin. "Ha ha ha. I'm going to smoke a cigarette while you guys chat." Poseidon walked towards the bathroom with a smile. Lin looked outside and saw several men and women dressed in papal attire holding crosses and praying in front of the hotel. "Do your people so arrogant wherever I go?" Lin looked at Athena and asked. "What do you mean by gods and ghosts? Do you dare to insult our gods? Believe it or not, I will kill you." Athena said coldly. "Forget it, I can't contact you." Lin waved his hand gently, turned around and walked to the chair next to him. Huaxia Yanhuang has always had a special existence. For example, in almost every mythological system in the world there is a sun god. But in Yanhuang, China, there was a human being named Hui. Many Western teachings aim to make people do good things in this life, and after death, God will allow people to go to heaven. But the descendants of Yan and Huang in China are different. They often hope to practice and become gods. There are general signs that the descendants of Yan and Huang never think of the so-called gods as nobler than themselves. Athena looked at Lin and walked over after a long time. "I really wanted to thank you last time." "You're welcome. I'm a good person and I won't argue with you." Lin waved his hand gently. "Don't try too hard. What you did to me back then, stop." "Dear Miss Athena, which one of us provoked you first?" Lin interrupted Athena. "It was you. I said at the beginning that I didn't want to be with you. You hit me, but you insisted on it. In the end, when I was insulted, you were offended." What did I say? Did I tell you? Did I say something wrong? Your God will punish you." Lin crossed his legs and said calmly. "What is my God?" "God is everywhere, and he is also your God." Athena didn't know how to respond to Lin, so she could only change the subject. "Don't be ridiculous. I remember that Jesus was born 2,000 years ago, right?" Lin said with a smile. "Sorry, in China we were at the end of the Western Han dynasty at that time." HNPH. Athena snorted again. "Don't talk to Lin." Lin made a tactical retreat. What is the self-confidence of a culturally powerful country? During the spring and autumn period in the Warring States period, when 100 schools of thought competed, which patriarch did not have resounding presence? If we really follow foreign logic, these people are all gods. "Come here." After a while, Zen11 in the distance greeted Lin and Athena. They got up together and followed Zen11. They came to a luxurious room, where Zero and Poseidon were already sitting on a sofa. Zen 11 walked in and said to the two people behind him, "Sit wherever you want." To Zero. Fen Lin closed the door and sat on the other side. Zen 11 sat next to Fen Lin and said with a smile, "Mr. Zero was fluent in Chinese. A meeting like this is very convenient. Well, let's get straight to the point. There are many true human teachers in Europe. In addition to people from all over the world, there are also foreigners, and among them there are even masters of the 5th level of Daken." Saiwo looked at Zen 11 calmly. "If we really want to annihilate them, how many masters will we use?" Heptars. "Mr. Saiwo, we can't deal with real humans in China. Let the outsiders take action." Zen 11 smiled and crossed his legs. "After all, the headquarters of true humanity is within the sphere of influence of your holy see. We can't make too many attacks. How about 3 realms Daken? What if there are 3 sites?" "Sir, this level of great achievement is quite acceptable," Saiwo said. With a smile. 1 second level, 2 first levels, Zen 11 reminded. "Ha ha ha. Are you kidding me, Mr. Zen?" Zero raised his head and laughed a few times. Fen Lin has been listening to the side. This meeting, to put it bluntly, is the Holy See's attempt to get more experts from other forces. Real humans are too mysterious, and with the addition of those potions, they are endless. Furthermore, since it is the base camp in Europe, there must be a powerful formation. There will definitely be victims in this eradication. The Holy See does not want to bear the burden alone, but wants other forces to send more experts to share the burden. But business owners aren't stupid either. It's clearly on their own territory, so why would they let their experts stray into dangerous territory? Mr. Zen, the real humans are our common enemy. I admit that their base camp is here with us, but if they are not wiped out, they will still establish branches in the future, Saiwo said solemnly, for the sake of the son. Of his country. People should also make some contributions. It is for this reason that we agreed to send people, otherwise we would not go. Zen 11 smiled and shrugged at me, "Otherwise, I will send a few people who can the supreme realm of the top-level assassination." Jump-level assassination. Zero frowned. Zhao, the peak of the 2nd level of Daken, with real combat power, can even cope with the 3rd level of Daken. Zen 11 paused and said, "Zhang family Zhangzu, 2nd level of Daken, these two are only now 50 years old. As expected from China, there is such a master." Poseidon was surprised. Surprised was Zhangzu. Did Zhangzu really cooperate? Then Zhangzu was likely to reveal his identity as a member of the Dark Holy See. Who else besides them? Zero touched his chin at the same level. They must be more powerful. In the prime of life, at the age of 50, he is much stronger than those old men. The last one is our famous teacher in Wujian, Zhangzu's father, Zhangzu King, Zen 11 explained. Not long ago, he successfully entered the 4th level of Daken. Fen Lin almost laughed out loud, but fortunately the mask blocked his expression at this moment. The person chosen this time, if I use words to describe the villain, has sinister intentions. Elixir is an unreliable person. The same goes for Zhangzu. Then there's Zhangzu King, who can test whether he is loyal. End of this chapter. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This story is completely available on Patreon. I invite you to subscribe and enjoy all the content.